What's up, Road King? G. Martinez. This is not going to lead to Yamamoto, Eric. Ain't gonna happen.
All right, everybody, welcome. My gain. How's my gain?
What's up, Michael?
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
There we
That's
go.
much better.
There we go.
You kind of blowing us out a little bit there.
You blow everybody out here.
What's up, Christopher?
As Farhan blows it out of the water with 113 million.
Yeah.
Yes, we will see. We're going to have a lot of discussion. Welcome to the NorCal Sports Network. And as you see on the thumbnail, and you've heard already by now, the Giants have signed Jung Hoo Lee from the KBO, the Korean Baseball Organization. I think that's what it probably stands for. And we're going to get everybody's takes on this. And wow, what do you guys think? And we bring in Bora here too to the room. I don't know, guys. This is there's a lot of people that are pretty good about it. Some are on the fence with it, and as you'll hear a little later on, some just downright don't like it at all. So we'll have a guest joining us here tonight to discuss that. So let's go around the room. Eric, we'll start with you.
All right. Yeah, they made a move. How about that? The thumbnail I had ready to go was, are they going to make a move?
That's right.
Let's make a move. Yeah, I had it already. Matter of fact, I had just emailed it out to you when the news broke. But I don't know, man. Not liking it. Not digging it.
Not digging it?
Not digging it. The only reason why I say that, not to say that, he's going to be a failure in the MLB level. But yeah, he's a KBO guy. I got it. There's people who've come out of the KBO who's had success.
Not many, though. I mean,
not many.
Not many. I mean, not 18, 19 million a year.
That's what I was going to say. And the Giants got guys in Sacramento who could do the same job that Jung Hoo Lee could do. That's my take. Why go out and spend that money? Why not allocate that money to somewhere else? And look, I'm not advocating for Cody Bellinger. I don't like the Cody Bellinger. I don't like Harrison Bader. And the problem is, this is a weak free agent class this year for position players. So just because there's not that many to pick from doesn't mean you got to go spend your money at this guy and go do that. If you could do it from within, do it from within. We've been talking about that on this channel. I mean, from the damn inception. Play the young guys. That's what we want to do. Play the young guys. If you're gonna trade for like an Arozarena, let's go. Okay, that guy's a proven MLB player, right? But as far as going out to get Jung Hoo Lee, I don't know. Not to say that it's he could wind up being the next what is that? Who is that Korean guy that played for Texas Rangers and the Reds? I can't remember his name.
Sin Chu. Was that?
Yeah, I can't remember. He was these, but he was also a different build. He was a bigger guy. He wasn't a small guy.
Who's that guy the Pirates had? It had some power. Choi?
Yeah, Choi.
G-Man Choi.
G-Man Choi.
G-Man Choi. Okay.
I don't know. I'm not liking it from my perspective.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to you on this. Los, what's your thoughts on this deal?
I dig it. I like it. I've been very, very consistent in saying the Giants need to get away from left-handed power because it doesn't play to the ballpark. I've been very consistent saying the Giants need to get younger. I've been very consistent saying the Giants need to get guys that can hit for batting average. I've been very consistent saying the Giants need to get defense to go along with dominant pitching because that's the formula that wins in this organization and wins in this ballpark. This guy is being judged before he's even stepped on the field, and he's being compared to past Korean players. It's not fair to him. What I always love about Asian hitters, especially left-handers, they all keep their front shoulder in and they don't bail on breaking balls. And that, to me, is the sign of discipline. I think he's going to make adjustments. Do I think he's going to be a superstar? No. Do I think he's going to be a bust? No. I think he's going to, when it's all said and done, be like the guy from Boston. Is it a Yoshida? I think he's going to be in the 270, 290 range, a little bit of power, mainly on the road because he's not going to do it at home much. But he's going to be hopefully a leadoff hitter, a guy that can take pitches. He doesn't strike out a lot. And I'm not buying the whole fastball type of thing because I saw a couple things today. I think Will Martinez was one, and I saw some more on Twitter that in the WBC, he was hitting guys hitting 94, 96 miles an hour.
I heard he changed his stance a little bit to knowing he was going to be posted to deal with the faster pitchers in the major leagues.
Yeah, I talk about that all the time. Baseball players, I think more than any professional sport, hitters at least, they make adjustments. So to just say, well, he can't hit 95, he can't 96, he's going to make adjustments. He's 25. If he has to choke up on the bat, there are a lot of people are saying, well, he's a dead pull hitter. Okay, well, people are throwing harder, so he's going to make adjustments and maybe go the other way. He has a short swing, except when the ball is inside, and then he has a power swing for a smaller guy. So I just want to see him being given a chance. And the last thing I'll leave with this, I want anything that's going to get Yaz and Slater the hell out of center field.
Yeah,
get out. If I haven't made myself clear in 7 months, I want those guys out, then you ain't been listening. So if this guy is the guy, because he can hit left-handed pitching, hopefully is not a platoon player, let's give him a shot and see what happens.
Is he worth 18 million though? Real quick, is he worth 18?
You know what, Eric? That's a great point, but nobody is worth what they are. True. Sonny Gray is not worth 25 million. I agree. Ohtani is not worth 70.
How about Seth Lugo today? Got 15 million a year.
Yeah, there's nobody that's signing American, Latino, Asian, Indian, Canadian. I don't care. There's nobody that is worth.
I think I'll disagree with you on one thing.
For everybody right now. So is he unproven? And did he get overpaid? Hell yeah, he got overpaid. He probably should have got closer to like 70 or 80 million. But hey, that's what it took. We've been all complaining about the Giants need to do something. They need to sign an international player. Here he is. Let's give him a chance before we.
We'll see. We'll see.
Say that he can't do it.
I think you said, not worth it or no one's worth it. I got to say, I think Shohei's contract, even though it's gargantuous,
at $2 million a year, it's worth it.
I think it's at 70 million. Dodger Stadium averaged 47,000 last year. It holds 56. They are going to fill that extra 9,000 every day.
Easy.
You know what else is going to happen in Dodger Stadium? You think they're going to be late and miss Ohtani's first game? No, LA is
not his first game, but that LA traffic, they're going to be late regardless.
Hey, if you're going to be going up, you're going like, hey, Ohtani's up in the first inning. You don't want to miss any one of his at-bats. He gets 4. He gets 4 generally a game. You don't want to miss one of them just because you didn't leave early enough or you didn't tell your boss. I mean, it's going to be like, hey, got tickets. Ohtani, you got to let me go a half hour early,
Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely. He's going to bring some
he's going to, and you know what? All the concessions, all the marketing. I think this was, this move was a year in the making, or if not longer. I mean, he was not going to sign anywhere else. And then Farhan comes out today, according to Susan Slusser, and says that they had the same deal on the table that was offered, that they were okay with it, the whole deferral amount. And I'm like, and Farhan says, I think he chose geography.
Come on. Come on, people.
You weren't even a
geography.
finalist. If you had the same number, if you had the same number as the Dodgers and you weren't a top 3 finalist, that just means you didn't want to come to the Giants.
It don't matter. It don't matter. You could have been on the beach. This stadium could have been on the moon, where if you tap it, it goes over the fence. He's not coming to San Francisco. It's the way the team is built.
That's what I said on Twitter. I responded. I said, if you switch geography locations, if the team switched geography locations, he would have signed with San Francisco, meaning he would have been with the Dodgers, because he wants to join a winner, not it's not location. Put a winning team together, and maybe you'll get the next Ohtani. Okay, put a consistent, perennial winner together, and we'll see. But let's get Boris' thoughts on the
real quick. One last point, guys. Do you guys agree that when you've seen most of the Asian players come to America that are left-handed hitters, that they're not bailing out on curves, they're not bailing out on sliders, that they're very disciplined in their approach with their front shoulder?
Well, Giants had Nori Aoki, and he wasn't all that great with San
Francisco. Yeah, he might be the exception, but like Yoshida, Hideki Matsuya, the Yankees, Ohtani,
those are Japanese though. So
they're disciplined hitters.
That's
KBO
true.
and MPB there is a variation there.
Agreed. But the discipline and the way I've looked at Lee's at bats, and a lot of the highlights are against left-handed pitching.
You know what? They're all lefties, almost everything I saw, and they're all inside pitches. I don't know why I didn't see one of his swings in the highlights online that were
outside.
They are not going to have a 7-minute video and show a slap single to left field. They're going to all show his home runs. So I know he has opposite field hits. It's just not on video.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we got to be. Well, Boric, go. I don't want to.
You got to see him.
Or go.
I mean, there's no doubt it's an overpay, right? He was projected to get like $10 million a year. What is this, like 18, 19 a year? So it's definitely an overpay. It's a reactionary move. But this move isn't for this year. It's for year 2, year 3, and year 4, and beyond. Because I'm looking at Possum Kim's stats. He was great in the KBO, and in his first year in the majors, 2021, he batted .202 with a .270 on base and a .350 slugging. He had a .620 OPS. He wasn't a good player. Last year, he had a .260 average with a .350 on base and with an OPS of .750. So I mean, it's going to take time, and he's going to get better over time. That's the one thing I like about this move. He's young, right? He's 25, so he's going to be able to grow into a better player. He's going to get bigger, hopefully. He's going to get faster. He's going to get stronger. But he is coming off an injury, right? And he's coming off a fractured ankle, which, I mean, with modern medicine, it's like, it should be nothing, but you never know with these surgeries, right? It could take a half a step away or something. So I mean, I think it's a risky move.
Risk is good though. Okay.
I like the risk a little bit. You got to go out there and do something. So I give Farhan props for that. But at the same time, it's like he's going to be your starting center fielder. You could have gotten Bellinger for what, 5 to 10 million more. I really don't understand
They still may be in on Bellinger.
They still might. They may be.
Which would move. Some people think Lee's more, natural position would be a corner.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, I think overall I'm not going to say I like it or I dislike it. I think it's a pretty middle of the pack move. It's a Farhan move, right? You don't get the guy you wanted to get, and you go back to your second choice, who you overpay for. The one thing is, these guys, they've been scouting this guy for a bunch of years, right? That's what I've heard. He's been scouted by the Giants heavily, so they have scouts. That makes me think maybe they know something that other people don't, right? He was projected to get 10 million. They gave him 18. Maybe they know something there. But I mean, yeah, he's young and athletic, right? He's young. He's gonna boost your athleticism. He's going to boost your outfield. He's going to boost your defense. I think he has a plus arm, so he's going to help that, which is good. So, I mean, overall, I think it's a decent move. I'm not going to say it's a great move, but it is what it is.
I think the Padres wanted him too, so they might have had to outbid them, even though they don't have supposedly a lot of money.
He's also look who he's represented by.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
There you go. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Hey, Boris knows how to get to Farhan.
It's Scott Boris, of course.
Oh gosh, he probably was playing this like I don't know. We're on the verge. We're getting closer, Farhan. You're gonna have to step it up a little more, and we can do it tonight. Otherwise, I'm working with AJ.
Hey Dan, before I go again, you give your assessment of Mr. Jung Hoo Lee.
I don't know enough about him, obviously, to say this is the great signing. I'm going off of what I've read, what I see. This is let me see if I can pull this up. I sent it to you guys see where it went. Man, I've got so many texts. It's like, wow. I was trying to read his scouting report, and there must be 100 texts between the time I last. Hey, I got a little word for you, senior. When you put it together, a text, try putting all your thoughts in one text. It's like boom, beep, 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 beep. There's like 5 quick texts he fires off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Let's see. I can't find it. I was going to read the scouting report. What was sent out by him, what Jim Bowden had to say. Let me see if. Go ahead and take that. Go ahead.
Bowden had him at 5.92, so he's not completely off. I mean, I still think it's an overpay, but almost everybody is. So.
Yeah, everybody's an overpay.
You were going to have to overpay. Like, you're going to have to overpay for Bellinger if you get him. You're going to have to overpay for Yamamoto. That's just life as an SF Giant fan.
And we've been saying they have the money. So
they do have the money.
Overpay. Do something. You can't not do nothing.
Here's another thing that I want to talk about.
Keep coming in here every night and talking about them not doing anything.
Well, you know what they could do? How about they play the guys they already have in okay, let's talk about age. Elliot Ramos. I said it again. Elliot Ramos, 23 years old, going to be 24. Luis Matos, 21 years old. Luciano, who may wind up in the outfield, 21 years old. We got Fitzgerald, 25 years old. We got young guys.
Meckler.
Who can play? Meckler,
Brown.
He's, I think, 25. Brown, he's still, I don't think. But I'm talking about guys who resemble what Jung Hoo Lee has. That's what if you already got these guys. If you already got those guys, play them. That's what I'm saying.
Agree.
I don't understand
Eric,
why
agree.
you go out there and spend $18 million. Okay.
Yeah. What about Meckler? Don't you think Meckler in a year would be like where
same body type, same everything?
Isn't Meckler going to be where Lee is in about a year?
That's what I'm thinking. Ramos has probably got more tangibles than Lee. He just hasn't played. That's the problem. They haven't given him his
they do
run.
need one of the things I've been talking about, and I know Los talked about it in his opening, was they do need guys that make contact, that can get on base. And we'll see how he does. I mean, if he can handle, we saw some highlights of him. So in fact, I'm going to pull some up here. We actually saw him in the WBO this year, or a couple years ago. He faced Yamamoto and got a couple hits off Yamamoto. Let me pull these up from Will Martinez. Let me see. I don't know if
taken by
cut that
third base.
No. Kill it. Hey, real quick before you play that, Darren Lee says, "Stop with the Ramos talk. Guy couldn't hit in the majors. What makes you think Lee? What makes you think Lee can? He's never played one game in the major leagues. It's been on KBO.
That's fair.
That's why I don't understand where somebody. And then I'm seeing some of these other takes. Oh, he slams the bat down when he hits a home run. We need some of that. Who cares? I want to see the guy play.
Let's watch him here. Here he is.
Go for it.
Did you say he got a few knocks on Yamamoto?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that was 95 miles an hour. Did you see that?
Is this this past year?
No. Rewind that. That was look up where they have the strike.
Oh yeah, 95.
Okay, that's 95, and he pulled it. Okay, so let's throw out that he didn't go the opposite.
That is Yamamoto.
Let's throw out the
wait.
disclaimer
That is Yamamoto.
Okay,
isn't it?
I like facts. I don't like.
Can you hear me, Los?
He just turned on 95.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, he can hear you, I think.
Okay, because every time I'm talking, I don't know if he hears me. Because is this Yamamoto?
Is he number
pitching?
18? I can't remember. I think it's 18.
Sure.
It's against Japan in the WBO. Look at the box score.
It's hard to tell. I can't tell if it is.
I can tell that it's 95.
It's 11, I think.
Turned on it. I mean, that's what all these people, a lot of people are saying.
Is that this past year, or is that?
I don't think it would have been this past year because he was hurt.
Okay, yeah.
Well, he was hurt in July, so maybe it was before.
Maybe it was before. Yeah, that was April or March.
Yeah, we don't know.
Is this the same?
I'm just saying, like, don't
keep repeating it over and over.
This is the same at bat.
Let's not say he can't do this and he can't do that. Like, let's give.
Yeah, I understand that point.
For sure.
I'm going is by KBO compared to MLB.
It's like AA, right? That's the comparison. It's like AA.
It's like AA.
I think this signing can also hint at Farhan wanting to trade away one of Matos, Meckler,
Ramos,
one of those guys that you named, Eric. Because I mean, it's really all those guys are similar players, prototype bodies to Lee. How much
is Slater and Yaz making? Yaz is at about 7, 8.
Yaz is 8. Slater is like almost 4.5, I think.
Okay, you trade them both. You got 12 and a half.
Other way around. Is it? Yeah, no. Yaz is at 8. Slater's at 4.5. That's what it is. Yeah.
Trade them both for I don't care what. Get them off the books. That's $12.5 million that goes towards his salary. You don't need them anymore. I'm with you, Eric. I want to see the young guys that we have already be given a chance. Lee's just going to be another tool. But what Lee does that I think maybe these other guys don't do is he puts the bat on the ball.
And I get that, but will that translate into the MLB? That's the only thing. That's
to be determined, my friend.
Exactly.
Yeah,
no, I don't think it. I don't know if it will. And it might not in the first year, but I think
first year, right?
Second year, third year, fourth year, I think it will translate because he's a good player.
He has an opt-out. Fourth year,
well, theoretically, he's going to get better as time goes on.
He stinks the first 2 years. Year 3, right before his opt-out, he just like starts getting it, and then it's like
he's off.
He's gone.
He's off to the Dodgers.
2029 with his new team, he starts raking, and I'll be like, "See, I told you so." It'll take 4 years. Bora, I hope he doesn't take a whole year. I hope in spring training, he gets the feel of what Major League pitching's like, and I think he gets off maybe to a little bit of a slow start.
But the good thing is, though, they're gonna have to play him no matter what because they played him $18 million. So if he starts stinking it up early in the year, they're gonna ride with it, and you're gonna see the growth that he gets to take throughout the year.
Right. And this is where I kind of push back on Senior here, where he says starting in Sacramento, that's a bad look. If you sign your perennial outfielder of the offseason, $18 million a year, and you're starting him off in Sacramento. I understand what you're saying, but man,
and we all know how impatient people are. So if they don't see results from this guy right away,
well, it's results oriented business. Yeah,
exactly.
Interesting.
Dan's up to something.
I'm trying to pull something up here.
Yeah.
Just trying to. There's a couple things. Will Martinez sent me something. I'm trying to pull that up. Let me pull this up here. Make sure the volume is off.
Niner Empire. He hits lefties.
Right, here we go.
A lot of his highlights are against lefties.
Is this up on the screen? I'm looking. I'm not.
Yeah, you're good. Right down the middle.
I mean, he has good bat speed. That's what I.
And here comes the bat. Here goes where he spikes it, and everyone just can't get enough of that.
I love it.
I love it. I love the emotion.
That's what the Giants need. They haven't had that in the past.
That doesn't make I'm just saying it doesn't make the player, and everyone's basing that we got a player because that guy could spike a bat after he hits a home run.
Well, we're talking about that pitch being right down the middle. I saw Giants hitters have pitches right down the middle and consistently miss them. I will take a fastball down the middle and hit it like that.
How fast was that? Let's see. Did that put up the? Was that in the?
I didn't.
Let's see. It doesn't show. No, it's not
showing.
It's
a replay.
Okay.
It was a fastball though.
I'm gonna look for some more highlights here.
He's not going to hit for power at Oracle. for sure.
I mean, he's probably gonna hit like
if he pulls it down the right field line, he will.
I want him to hit doubles and triples, and when there's a guy at third and less than 2 outs, I want him to hit a sac fly and get that run in and not strike out.
Hey,
and
Cosman,
he needs to play to his strengths.
Real quick, Cosman, you're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying that excitement is not a good thing. What I'm saying is when people are using that clip to say that this guy's going to be the best thing that's ever happened to the San Francisco Giants, that's the issue I have. I want excitement. I love it. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying.
That was against Hugh Darvish in the
WBC.
In WBC.
Hugh Darvish throws pretty hard.
Not against excitement. I love the excitement. I'm just saying
that
not basing your entire observation of this player because he can spike a bat. That's all I'm saying.
No, yeah, I saw that. I saw a bunch of that stuff on Twitter, Eric, and I agree. It's like we want the excitement, but just because a player is exciting and brings that energy, it doesn't mean he's going to be the best player of all time.
Right.
You still have to judge him based on his attributes and how he can play baseball. But that excitement that he brings is a plus because the Giants haven't had that in how many years?
Yeah, they're dead.
They're completely dead. And I think him being young and having that excitement really is going to play to the other young kids to help them develop some excitement. Casey Schmidt, Luciano, Meckler, all these guys that are really young and they're coming up. I think they're going to be able to bond together and they're going to be able to grow together.
Eric, can we play the highlights from MLB Network and if with sound? Can we do that?
I don't know if I want to do the dance. I don't know. The sound, maybe.
Because the sound is what they're talking about him, and I would love to hear what their report on him is.
And when we can, I mean, there's a chance that we just, I don't know. We could. Why not? Go for it. I got the courtesy up there. We're good.
Of MLB.
Yeah, courtesy MLB Network, right?
MLB Network.
Cool.
Anthony Recker. At Anthony Recker discusses Young
I already got
Lee.
the courtesy of MLB Network, so we're covered on that.
All right, so we're going to play this courtesy of MLB Network. And let me get this up here. Whoops, settings, wrong one. Present, share screen. Coming here. 1 sec, guys. Is that up there?
It is now. Yeah, let's keep it. Maybe keep it just like that.
Let me. You want to get the sound or?
Yeah.
Or you just want? It's up to you. If you guys just want to watch his footage, that's fine.
To the same level, but this guy goes out.
Okay, let me pull this back. All right. You got it up there on the screen, right? Okay.
I'm excited to watch this guy come over. I mean, he's got a similar profile when you look at the numbers to what Yoshida was able to do for the Red Sox this year. Good contact guy, high average guy. He'll take a walk, not quite to the same level.
So we could talk through this. Okay, so
Gold Glove defense.
So
and the fact
Gold
that
Glove
he's a little
defense.
Bit taller at 6 foot, a little bit younger. At
171 pounds. He's smaller than.
He's going to be able to.
He's going to get bigger.
I don't know if it's going to happen.
Well, so is Meckler.
There's a pretty big adjustment period when you come over to Major League Baseball from the KBO. That said, if this guy goes out there and plays Gold Glove caliber defense for you, and then just starts to come alive with the bat, and he can put together the type of year where he can go 300, maybe 20, 25 home runs, this kid could be something really special. So wherever he ends up, they're going to have a really good player on their hand, whether it's San Diego, San Francisco, or anywhere, because there are a lot of teams involved in this kid. Well, I'm excited to watch this guy come over.
All right.
He's got
here's the one thing about power, right? Because a lot of power is based on bat speed, and this guy has a lot of bat speed.
Right.
Corbin Carroll is like 160, 170, and he's a 30-30 candidate.
Exactly.
I mean, so I'm not going to say that he's going to hit 25 to 30 home runs a year, but I think him having the really fast bat speed that can play into maybe hitting a little more home runs.
And if he's a 330, 340 hitter and he comes down as expected, let's say he comes down 50 points, 40 points. Is anybody going to complain in here about 280, 290 in center field playing good defense compared to what we've had, compared to what we've been complaining about for the last few years? I'm not. I'm taking 280, 290.
There's a quote. Proof that the KBO is nowhere near MLB in quality. The MVP of the KBO in 23 was Eric Fetty, who is a 30-year-old whose career MLB ERA was 5.41. Fetty in the KBO this year went 20-6 with a 2.
It's a different. That's the issue that I have. It's just a different level of competitiveness.
You know, I'll say this. I agree that you're going to feast a lot better in the KBO against pitching. And if you're a major league pitcher going over there, heck, you know, Darren Ruff did pretty well over there, but then he did come over here and hit pretty well after being in the KBO. But
Darren Ruff also played for the Phillies before he went to the KBO.
Right, but my point is that he didn't do that great with Philadelphia until, and that's kind of why he ended up in the KBO.
Right.
And then he came back. So I'll say this about this is, you know, there are unicorns in every area of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are guys that are different. Maybe before Shohei, who was the greatest Japan hitter besides, or I should say before Arichio? Who was? No, in MLB that came over before Arichio. Who came over to MLB that tore up MLB?
Wasn't it the guy from the Yankees, right?
No, he came after.
Did he?
Matsui came in 2004.
But Matsui was good. He wasn't like great.
Yeah, he was a good player.
And don't forget, there's a short porch in right field.
But Suzuki was an all-time great.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've had Ohtani, and we've had a couple of pitchers, right, that have been, but they're also getting. It seems like, aren't they getting better as time goes on? People are getting better.
They are, yes.
So maybe this Jung Hoo Lee is a guy who is, ahead of his time. He's just one of those guys that's developing and is. We'll see.
Maybe
in the Korean League. Oh, we'll get to that one. We've got a super chat here.
Yep.
Kalba Kaminga.
Appreciate it, Kalba.
$10. Thank you. Kalba says, I've been frustrated in the Kapler years with the constant platooning and impatience with letting young guys get prolonged playing time. How much of that was Kapler versus scouts, GM, and analytics?
Good point. I don't know. I think a lot of that was Farhan.
I think it was Farhan. I really do. I got to believe that Gabe was just, he was just kind of like AI, man. He was just there doing what was programmed prior to the game.
I don't think he was doing much at all. And I mean, if you look at, we've talked about this before, but if you look at Kapler's managerial tendencies in Philadelphia, he didn't platoon his guys. He had 5 or 6 guys who had more than 500 at-bats in like 2019. So his philosophy wasn't necessarily to platoon. It's always been Farhan's philosopy.
So he's striking out about 10% of the time there. Look,
his strikeout rate's fantastic.
It's like 9, yeah.
9. Hey, I'll tell you what, if he can keep that under 15 in MLB and
they say
lead off,
amazing bat control, but
and
quality competition, I get it.
We'll see how this thing goes.
I think
Meckler hit about 340, 350, right? At AA, came up and he struggled. I still
did the same thing in AAA. He was batting 3 something. He hardly struck. We talked about that. Remember, he hardly struck out.
Yeah,
he's going to struggle here because the pitchers will figure out his weakness and then he will have to adjust. And like Meckler, Casey Schmidt, all these guys. The fact that he's 25, he's been playing a while, is really good. He's Meckler's 21. Okay, Meckler's 21. He was a year out of college at Oregon State.
Get younger,
maybe,
get more athletic.
It will be interesting to see. I just hope, like you said, move Yaz Slater out of center field. I like your idea of even trading Yaz and or Slater or a Haniger. And if you get rid of Haniger, you've just replaced his salary with a younger.
Yes.
I don't like Haniger, but there's a part of me that wants to see him have a healthy season because he's going to have a healthy offseason, right? When healthy, he's a great player. So I want to see him healthy. The thing is, can he stay healthy? Because he's just throughout his whole
call
career,
him great. I would call him
above average.
Yeah, above average to good. He had a great year in 21, 39 homers, 100 RBIs. It was Seattle.
If he can revert back to his old self in Seattle, then I think that would play, and that would be a great.
He's the one left over that I'm with you. I do want to see because I think he has the biggest upside of.
Who do you like at DH? Flores, or do you like Flores more as a occasional DH and occasional pinch hitter? You can't.
I like Flores as DH just because his defense is horrible, and he's so slow. I don't like his defense at all. I think he's contributing to some of their defensive problems.
I was just wondering if you could keep if he. I mean, he's got a really good contract, right?
He does.
He signed for a couple years. He's the type of guy that might bring you something in trade, and you could put Haniger at DH and keep him out of the outfield where he's injury prone, and now you've got a powerful. I mean, he strikes out a lot more. I love Flores' bat, but so does 29 other teams, and you might be able to get some value for Flores because Flores on a competitive team, put him on a winning team, they would love Wilmer Flores.
He just had his best year as a major leaguer in 10 years last year. He had a career year. Yep. There's sell high, buy low, right? That's what it is.
Thank you. You're learning.
Real quick, we got a new person in here. Ocean View Coffee Shop. Hey, appreciate you being in the chat. Has a question. Does Lee, is he atop of the lineup board? Or would you want to even put him as a leadoff?
I think that's where he belongs. I don't know if he's ready the first
year,
but he's going to have to learn.
You know, I would just put him right there. Just put him.
You know what? He's better than anything they got. Let's just put it that way.
Well, Wade gives you a good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand he doesn't have the speed, but he gets on base.
Yeah, but you gotta start learning to develop. I mean, if you're talking like a year from now, you know, get him to develop. Let's just hope he passes the physical, right, with the ankle.
Yeah, I think it was about a year ago that they signed Correa. So
same thing, ankle. I mean,
let's.
This is
some doctor looks at his X-ray and goes, "Oh, would that be the ultimate? Would that be the ultimate?" That would be great.
The Steph Curry jinx with ankles.
2 years in a row, have a physical, and Farhan does it again. He sets up, and then just before the press conference has been canceled. And it's like, what? Our doctors looked at the ankle and they don't think this ages well.
I see some arthritis in there.
I'm with you with Flores, and it might be a little unpopular with the chat and with the fans because Flores has been a good Giant. But, you know, we remember Brandon Crawford had a real big year at a later age, and then they gave him money. And not that Flores has got a big contract. He doesn't. But if we really expect Wilmer Flores to hit like he did last year, I think you're kind of fooling yourself. I don't think he's going to be bad, but I don't think he's going to hit that well. I think he will. I think that was a career year, like Bora pointed out. And like we say a lot, sell high. If somebody will take him and give us another young prospect, it's not going to be an A prospect, but anything, I'm all for that. So like Eric says, that'll free up the younger guys to fight it out. And whoever doesn't make a position player may be our DH.
Flores is also 32, and he's not getting younger. He's going to start to slow down. The only thing with Flores, is he's a true seasoned vet, and he has sway with these younger Latino players like Luciano, Estrada, Matos. He has that leadership to be able to mentor them. So that would be the only reason I wouldn't move him. But if you can get a piece for him, like a younger piece, I would go for it because he's one of your older players.
Or package him together with somebody.
Exactly. Something. He's one of your older players. Send him to a win now team to be a platoon guy, and get younger.
And if they do move on from a prospect to get another big bat, then throw in a Slater or throw in a Flores, or throw in a Yaz. Like, if you want this, you have to take this guy. And that way you get them off and you free it up for the young guys.
And I like what D-Shot says, play Schmidt at third base every day.
Yes. We'd love to see that, but I've got a feeling, and we'll hear from Kerry Crowley tomorrow or Thursday.
No, Thursday.
Thursday. Is my gain okay here?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Thursday night, I believe Kerry still believes the Giants are in on Bellinger and Chapman, both represented by Boris, right?
Yep.
Okay. So you don't think that Farhan's having talks with Boris about Bellinger?
How's those talks going, Dan? How does that go? How does that talk with Farhan and Boris go?
Oh, yeah. Hi, everybody. Here's what I'll say. If you really want to spend the money and you've got money to spend and you want to build this team to compete with a pretty decent lineup up and down, I would be okay what happens if they decided to bring in Chapman, play at third base, and then move Casey to short,
and then Luciano to the outfield,
and Luciano to the outfield. Now you got a corner outfielder in left field with some pop, and then you can put Haniger maybe at the DH, and then you can trade some of the other guys, or you end up trading a piece off. But here's the thing. I'm going to repeat this. The Giants' best shot to competing for a playoff berth and doing something in the playoffs is to have a three-headed monster in your starting rotation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is what their money should be going to. This is a pitcher's ballpark. You got a guy in Lee who looks like he fits the ballpark well. But if you add two starting pitchers, and Yamamoto would be one, obviously. I don't think they're getting him. I'm on record as saying I don't think they have a real chance. But if they're willing to step up the offer, I mean, you did an overpay for Lee, it looks like. You're going to have to do an overpay of over 300 if you're going to get Yamamoto.
Yes.
If you got Yamamoto, and I said I wasn't in on Snell, but he's probably the next best guy. And if you had two lefties, if you had Webb and Yamamoto and Harrison and Snell, and then Stripling as your 5 right now, and then you would have to add a 6. With Yamamoto, you need a 6th starter because that's what he's not going to pitch every 5th day.
Is that one of his requests?
Pretty much, that's going to be one of his deals.
But here's the problem: what is Farhan going to do with Descalfani, Stripling, and all these other plethora?
You just got to cut bait. Just cut them. Take the money. That's what's going to have to happen.
You know what I'd rather see instead of Snell? If they can get Yamamoto, but then make a trade. Try to get Max Fried or Dylan Cease. Glasnow, it sounds like he might be going to the Dodgers. But
Jim Bowden
instead of paying 2 starting pitcher free agents and Yamamoto. The only thing is I just don't think they're going to land Yamamoto. I don't see it.
Well, if they stepped it up, if Will Martinez says Bowden's saying Yamamoto get 9 years, 304, make it 10 and 350 and call it a day. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's 25. You might get the full 10 years.
Give him an opt-out after year 5.
Yeah, let him hit free agency again at 30.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
What do you know? The Giants would sign a couple of 25-year-olds. Oh, my God.
Here's the thing with Matt Chapman.
Give $30 million to Bellinger and to Yamamoto.
No.
If I have $30 million to give, I'm giving it to Yamamoto over Bellinger every single time.
Here's the thing with Chapman. I feel Chapman and Farhan have a relationship, right? It's well known that they have a relationship. They worked in the past. Him and Melvin too. I feel like if they would sign Chapman, he would have already been signed. I just feel like that connection should have been enough to have him signed. And I think I'm just completely away from signing Chapman.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a little better in the field and maybe a little better hitting, but do not sign him.
Yep.
Go with Casey
Schmidt.
Do it. And Dan, you said put Luciano in the outfield because that's where he was not projected, but that's where some people see him. I'm looking at Bobby Witt Jr. His rookie year 2 years ago, he was atrocious in the field. He was one of the worst defenders. He had like a negative 14 outs above average or something.
Yeah.
This past year, he was one of the best defenders in the league at shortstop.
Yeah,
I
want to see Luciano play. I want to see Luciano.
I'm looking at that projection for Luciano. I'm looking at him being able to improve, and we saw some improvement last year when he came up.
The Giants need him to be top level. They
do. They need to bet on him being good because if he isn't good or great, it's gonna be bad and it's gonna blow up in their faces.
He has more value at short than an outfield.
Luciano?
Luciano.
Yeah.
If you have a shortstop hitting 30 homers, that's value more than outfielders. A corner outfielder is supposed to hit 30 homers, so a shortstop, that's like a bonus.
I think I would rather him produce more being an outfielder than as a shortstop because I got a feeling if he's a shortstop, he may not produce as much with his bat. I just got a feeling. I think Schmidt could handle the shortstop and still produce with his bat. I don't know if Luciano. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's a good point. But by moving Schmidt to short, that means you're putting Chapman at third.
No, you can get someone else for third base.
I don't want Chapman at third. Chapman on this team.
I don't want Chapman so much either, but I'll tell you what.
Want Danny Davis.
Would you trade for Alonso for 1 year? Another Boris guy.
No, I'm not trading for any Boris clients with 1 year left because I guarantee you Soto's going to hit free agency.
But you know what they're going to do? Yep. They're going to freaking play their asses off.
Exactly. And I would trade for Alonso if there was a guarantee that
there ain't going to be a guarantee, but if San Francisco plays their cards right and they treat him well and they do good by him, he may decide, you know what, I like my experience with San Francisco and I'll stay here. That's a possibility.
I'm not putting that confidence in Farhan or the Giants.
Haven't we made fun of and put down the Giants because they play players out of position? They take them out of their comfort zone. I don't want to move Luciano. That's where he wants to play short. I think he would do better mentally if he's at a position that he's comfortable in.
I would like to see Schmidt play, but I don't think the Giants. I think when we had Casey on last week, he was all for, if they signed Chapman, he says he plays three positions. Casey plays third, short, second. Casey may be their utility guy. He may be their super utility guy that plays 4 or 5 days a week at different positions. Gives Estrada a break 1 day a week. If they had a Chapman, gives Chapman a day off. Plays short here and there. I don't know what they're going to do, but you want to have – I would love to see Casey be the everyday third baseman because I think he would be awesome. But I just don't know if this club is going to do that. Let me tell you, Giants, I don't know if you're listening, but, hey, by the way, we got 223 in the chat
223 in the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like.
And subscribe.
Hit that like and subscribe.
They have to subscribe if they want to.
Imagine if they sign Yamamoto. Oh, my God.
Well, this is where the money needs to go to the pitching staff.
Agreed.
You've got to build. Hey, how did the Giants win 3 World Series? Did they have stars all over the diamond? Pitching. They had 3 stellar pitchers and they added other pitchers like Vogelsong or Jake Peavy. They were dominant pitching, especially in that 2012 World Series. The Tigers just got destroyed. I mean, it was unbelievable. And then that was the year they had Barry Zito do well in the playoffs and the World Series.
The 1 year.
The 1 year. Hey, to me, you
earned it.
You earned it. It was 7 long years.
I think Dan Fitzgerald has the potential to be our utility guy.
Yeah, there's another guy. He could play center field
everywhere, and he can hit. I like Fitzgerald a lot. I would really love KC to be our third baseman and Luciano to be our shortstop for the next 10 years. That would be in a perfect world. Let's see what they do in spring training. That's what spring training.
I think spring training is going to
battle it out. Let them battle it out, and may the best man win.
I think JD Davis and Casey Schmidt are going to have that competition for the starting spot at third in spring training.
I still think they're looking at Chapman. I
think they're looking at Chapman, but I think Farhan's smart enough to realize that Chapman's 30 years old.
He's not.
No, he's not.
He's not smart.
He's not.
Okay. Do you think Farhan's smart enough Farhan's smart enough to not give him a 7-8 year contract, or do you think he's
5 years? He's looking. I think he's looking for a 5-year deal, Chapman. I don't think he's getting more than 5 anywhere on the market.
If they sign Chapman, that will take away the optimism about signing.
Yeah,
that will be a bad signing.
It's kind of malpractice. Yeah, it's just
you
see what you got in Casey Schmidt. Seriously,
exactly. For once, let a young guy try to win the job.
Let him develop.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. The idea was you drafted these guys in the second round, Casey, in 2020. The idea is that these guys were going to, Farhan was brought in to change the direction and bring in the farm guys. Luciano's was Bobby Evans signing,
right.
But Fitzgerald was a Farhan guy, right?
Yes.
And Schmidt and Bailey, and but we'll see what happens if he trades off Matos and Ramos this year and keeps the rest of the guys he brought in. I'm gonna be like, oh my goodness, you're what are you just? You trying to get rid of everybody that was in the organization prior to you got here?
Have they picked up JD Davis's arbitration or whatever, or
what's his
contract looking like?
I thought he had 1 more year left, right?
He's got 1 year left before free agency.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's gonna be on this team next year.
Yes.
Unless they trade him.
Yeah,
right. I said they should have traded him last year. Yep. I said they should have traded him last year because, Schmidt is going to make adjustments. He made some. He made some last year. He hit 2 home runs the last game of the season.
Game of the year, yeah.
That's a great way to be, going into the off season.
Hey, do you guys make anything out of Lee signing so early compared to some of these other guys that are signing that haven't signed?
I figured
the bigger guys would have gone bigger.
I think Farhan realized that he needed to make a move, and he completely overpaid for Lee.
Yeah.
And he just kind of blew away Lee with the offer that they.
So it was a panic move.
I'm not going to say it was a panic move, but it was a rash decision.
That's what I was going to say. You got some more talent out there on the board that they could have gone after, but they decided. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm thinking maybe Bellinger's off the table, which is fine.
It might be.
And that's why they went with Lee.
Yeah, when Boris went to Lee and said, hey, the Padres are offering 5-90, and the Giants are not coming with 6 and 113, and you can opt out after 4. They're like, that's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer because you know why? Bellinger and Snell are going to get paid, so it's not like he's gaining money with the Lee signing.
Bellinger would be smart to go to Toronto if he wants to, like we talked about last night. If you sign, this long-term deal and you get the money, but you want to pad your stats for
if he wants to
your resume, don't come to San Francisco because you're not going to hit 30, 40 homers here. You're not. Mm-hmm. You'll be lucky to hit 25. You're going to get the Brandon Belt effect. You're going to have a lot of balls hit 410 feet to right center and caught, and you're going to get pissed off. Mm-hmm. So Bellinger, go to Toronto if you want great stats. They'll pay you, and
true.
You'll put up good numbers.
And they brought in those power alleys in Toronto.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you guys. Does this signing affect Yamamoto at all? At all?
It might a little bit. With the Giants, it might.
You think so?
You mean
just because of that, like,
or in a bad way?
In a good way.
Yeah, I think getting an Asian player on the team, why it couldn't hurt.
Or either way, like how does it affect Yamamoto, if anything?
I don't think it affects him at all as far as where he wants to sign. He's going to want to go to the best team for the biggest paycheck. That's where he's going to want to go. I think Giants are just going to be used as a leverage, as they do always.
I didn't know he wanted to pitch every 6 days. I love Yamamoto, but I'm not crazy about that. Like that.
That's what they do in Japan.
That's not very good leverage. Hey, give me all this money, but I can't throw every 5 days. Like that's kind of weak to me, honestly. Like you should be able to throw every 5 days, bro.
He's not used to it.
He's not used to it.
That's not how he was in Japan.
They're limiting you to 100 pitches anyway. You're not throwing 140, 130 pitches, so you should be.
That's one thing I don't know what they throw. How many pitches they throw in Japan? I'd
assume they aren't overusing him just because they probably knew he was gonna go to the majors at some point. I don't know though.
That's why you pay big money to a number one ace. Not only that he's dominant, but that he eats up innings and keeps your bullpen from having to throw. If he's throwing every 6 days, he's not exactly helping in that manner. I was not aware of that. His stock went a little bit down in my book, but I'd still be happy to get him.
26 starts instead of like 32.
Exactly, Dan. Exactly. So in the playoffs, we have Yamamoto throwing game 1. And he can't come back. He can't come back and pitch.
That's going to be different. Playoffs is a totally different monster.
Shit, we're paying you that kind of money. You better sack it up, man. Ice up, son. Ice up.
Let's look at this article by Jim Bowden today. Thank you, Will Martinez, for alerting me.
Way to go, Will.
Will's on fire, man.
And then we may look at one from Baggerly.
Real quick, Dan, I'm looking on Twitter right now, and Randy Arozarena just posted a picture on Instagram of him and Ohtani.
Oh,
so I don't want to say if that's
I said that though. I said that the Dodgers will probably do that. They're gonna go after Glasnow and Arozarena.
Glasnow and Arozarena. It might be looking
We'll see.
But he doesn't have a say in it unless he knows something.
Unless he knows something,
Yeah.
All right, so the winter meetings, there should be a lot of free agent activity over the next. He says, Bowden says, I looked at 17 of the top remaining free agents and made new predictions based on my conversations with decision makers across the game for where they'll sign, what contracts they'll receive, and which team offers the best fit. Yamamoto, do we see that? Is that showing up, guys?
Yep.
Okay. Because I'm not even looking at our screen. I'm just looking. Most sought after free agent remaining on the market. He says the Yankees, best fits, Mets, Dodgers, Rangers, Giants, Sox, and Cubs. Oops, what happened there?
Oh, you got to pay for the Athletic.
I do pay. Dang it.
Dan's like, I do pay, man. Don't do that to me.
What's going on, Dan?
I have a membership, man. I mean, why can't I get that?
Dan.
What the heck? Up again. I don't know why. Let's see if I can log in here. You guys go on, and I'll be working in the background on that.
I'm taking a look. I see that picture. A lot of people are reposting that. Let the speculation begin. Oh, man.
I mean, let's just say hypothetically the Giants were to trade for Glasnow and Arozarena. What would that package look like?
Oh, real quick, I got something else here. I don't know who this is. Jim Riley is retweeting this an hour ago. Dodgers are on the verge of acquiring right-handed pitcher Tyler Glasnow and outfielder Manuel Margot. But they showed that picture of Arozarena, so I wonder if
I saw that too. I don't know if that's a trusted source or anything, or that's just a.
I don't know either.
Mm-hmm. But what do you guys think that package could look like
for Glasnow and Arozarena?
Yeah,
Harrison or Wisenhat would have to go back to him. One of them. Should probably maybe both of them.
This is good. This is gonna
because Glasnow's on his last year, right?
I think
is Arozarena on his last year?
I thought he had a couple of years. You have to look at that, Bora. I thought he had a few years left. That's why he was going to be expensive for a trade.
I'm going to look at that right now.
Dodgers have they got the horses to make a trade.
Yeah, so this is his second arbitration. He has 2 more, then he's a free agent at 32 in 2027. So he's under contract.
Yep.
For
Matos would probably have to be included because he'd be the outfielder to replace Arozarena if they like his upside and he's young.
I'm like Wisenhunt, Matos, and
Wilmer Flores.
Would that?
I mean, we'll throw in Yaz.
I would do that. I mean, I'm not gonna.
I would do that.
I would do that. I don't know if anyone else would do that.
Yeah, Arozarena immediately goes to left field. He's fast, so now you got Lee fast in center. You got Arozarena fast and athletic in left. Your outfield just got a lot more athletic. You got a bona fide 1A ace and Glasnow to go with Webb. All day I would do that.
Their site's down. I can't even log in. So let me just.
Is it really?
Yeah, I logged in and it's saying it keeps shutting down. So he's saying Yamamoto, $304 million, 9 years to the Yankees. Jordan Montgomery, he's got team prediction is the Rangers at 6 years, $167 million. Best fits, Rangers, Giants, Cards, Yankees, Dodgers. Best fit. Blake Snell, he's got him going to the Mets at 6 years and 162. Number 4, he's got Cody Bellinger going to the Cubs at 7 years, 181. Interesting.
Dan, they have Montgomery getting more money for 6 years than Snell. Is he because he's younger? I think I heard you say 6 and 1.
Snell is age 31.
Yeah.
And he's got 6 and 162, and he had Montgomery at 6 and 167. Pretty close. Montgomery is 30. Montgomery's
a year all day.
That's very interesting. Snell's coming off of a Cy Young, and he's making.
He also walks a ton of people. He only gives you. He's not a big innings guy. He only pitches about 145 innings.
Wow.
Montgomery's a little bit more.
Who would you take for the same money out of those two?
I'd take Snell all day.
I'd probably have to take Snell.
Because I think Snell's the top of the line starter. He
walks a lot of people, but
he's still really good. I mean, he won the Cy Young.
He strikeout. He strikes people out.
He strikes out. I think Montgomery. I mean, what was his ERA this past year?
Well, Snell's was 2.25.
Yeah, it was. He had a low ERA.
Montgomery's ERA. It's not showing me in the article.
3.20. It was 3.20. So I mean, I think Montgomery's like a 3.
He's got Bellinger going to the Cubs. He's got Chapman going to the Blue Jays at a contract of 6 years and 127.
So he's going to go back to the Blue Jays then.
Best fits are the Giants are so far in all 5. So that tells you what. But number 6, he's got Josh Hader going to team up with. Well, grab a beer here, Bruce Bochy.
Oh, really? Texas, huh?
With 3 years, $63 million. Jung Hoo Lee, number 7, he has. Team prediction, he has the Giants. This was written earlier. He had a contract of 5 years and $92.5 million. So he got 6 and 113. That's right there.
Exactly. He's right there.
He just got the extra year.
It's still an overpay, but
7, he's got JD Martinez going to
need a beer, grab a beer.
Back to the Diamondbacks. JD was with the Diamondbacks at one point.
I would not mind him. I know he's older, but look at his numbers last year. Right-handed power plays well in our park, not left-handed power. I would not mind him as our everyday DH.
You know,
righties, lefties. That is a legit number 4 hitter.
Chris Turr just pointed out in the chat, and I just looked it up. Snell pitched 180 innings last year.
Did he last year?
Yeah,
that's good. That's good. I thought he was pretty much. Maybe it's his average is around 145. Not sure. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. with the Diamondbacks last year. Prediction going back to the Diamondbacks, 3 years at $39 million. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Maybe Bowden knows things because he got Lee right, and he does talk to people. Number 10, Rhys Hoskins with the Phillies. He's got him going to
the Giants.
The Giants.
1 year, 12 million.
1 year, 15 million. What did I say? 3 years, 40, 45. So he's right in that 15 million.
I think he's going to sign a 2-year 30.
I think he gets a 2-year with a 1-year opt-out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. It's the Farhan special,
it's
baby.
The special, yeah.
Give me the
and I think that's a good deal, though. That's a good deal for him because he's coming off a torn ACL.
He's got the backup year if he doesn't have a good year. Hey, let's see. Scott Boras here looking at the Farhan menu, the Giants menu. You know what? Just give me the Farhan special up there, and put a little bit of little extra ketchup on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I thought it was interesting with Lee's contract that he gets a 6-year deal, but the opt-out is 4. So he's committed here for 4 years. So if you really want to be aggressive, give Hoskins a little bit more money. Again, it's risky, but the Giants have to take risk right now. They cannot stay pat. You want to get Hoskins, give him 3 years with an opt-out after 2. So if he rakes year 1, he doesn't do what everybody else does and leave. He has to stay here at least 2 years. So offer him a little bit more. Give him 3 years.
I would give him 3 years, but 3 years, 55
with an opt-out after 2.
Yeah, because I think I like Bryce.
You don't need to go to 55. No way.
You don't think?
No, not to 55. Not like maybe
3 years, 40, 45. 3 years, 45.
Okay, 3 years, 45. 3 years, 3 years, 2 opt-out instead of the typical 2-1. That way, at least we get him for 2 years here.
And he's committed to trying for 2 years, not just trying for 1.
Yes, that would be a better move.
Justin Turner, he's got them going to the Mariners with a 1 year, $14 million. Michael Wacha at number 12.
Waka. I
like
Waka's got him going to the Angels, 2 years, $28 million.
I would take Wacha here. He found his changeup last year.
I definitely see this one happening. He's from Southern California. Lucas Giolito going to the Dodgers.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
he's 29 years old. He's got a best fits. The Giants are in there too. Prediction: 1 year, $15 million. Seth Lugo. He predicted the Royals. Where did Seth Lugo sign today?
Went to the Royals. 3
years.
years.
Have some inside information. 45.
Jeez. Teoscar Hernandez has got him going to the Angels. 2 years, $28 million. And let's see. Jorge Soler got him going to the Mariners. Yeah, dang it.
I like Soler. What's his contract?
He's got 2 years, $32 million. That's a Brandon Crawford contract. 2 years,
I would
16.
Take that.
Yep. And then he's got Whit Merrifield, age 34.
He can hit
with the Red Sox, going to the Red Sox from the Blue Jays.
He can hit, and he can
2 years, 2 years, $16 million. So there you go. The Giants.
I would take that. He can hit.
And those are the top 17. See, they're missing out on all the starters, but they're in the top 3 available are all starters. Yamamoto, Montgomery, and Snell. Giants just need to step up their offer on at least one of those guys. You can't strike out.
Did you say with Merrifield, right?
Yeah.
With 2 and 16?
Yeah, $8 million a year.
I would take that in a heartbeat.
I wouldn't.
That guy can hit. I don't care about
That fits well with Boston.
That fits well with this ballpark. He's a line drive hitter.
I'm looking at
Will Martinez says the Giants get one of those.
Yeah, nice prediction there, Will. 1 out of 12. Yeah.
No, 1 of 3. He's talking about the pitchers, I think.
Oh, one of those 3 pitchers. Yeah. I would take. I like Merrifield a lot. He would fit in exactly with the contact, high average, high character. He can play different positions. Again,
I wish I could pull this up. I got an article here on Buster Posey from Baggerly in the Athletic. It's a question. Let's see. So the question must be asked, whether it's Ohtani or Judge or Harper, why do none of these generational players want to go to San Francisco? It's a question that Posey, the Giants' own generational star, is asking himself. In a phone interview with The Athletic on Tuesday, which was earlier today, Posey spoke candidly about his personal message to Ohtani during their meeting at Oracle Park on December 2nd. His concerns that free agent pursuits have been impacted by negative perceptions about the Bay Area and his confidence that there are brighter days ahead for both the franchise and the region. I just wanted him to understand my level of love for the San Francisco Giants and city of San Francisco, and for him to understand how much I've come to appreciate the history here and wanting him to be a part of that history going forward. Posey said of the Giants' intimate 2-hour meeting with Ohtani, which also included Zaidi, Johnson, and manager Bob Melvin, it was such a unique opportunity. I just feel that him coming to the Giants could have been transformative, obviously for the baseball team, but it would have also given the city a boost that we've all been looking for. That was the pitch. Look, you've got an opportunity to come here and do something special that's going to impact not only people during your tenure, but potentially for years and years to come, even after you're done playing. And I meant it. I fully believed it. Okay, so that was Buster's pitch to Shohei. And now we bring in San Francisco. Who needs Shohei Ohtani?
Who needs Shohei Ohtani?
When we've got San Francisco's own bred and born Larry.
What's up, Larry?
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, fellas?
Hey.
Is that Los? Is Los in the house up there, or is that not
Los?
Los?
That's Los up there.
That is Los. I think he's got a honeydew list to do right now. I heard.
I don't think he wants to hear the negative comments about Mr. Jung Hoo Lee.
No, I had a piss list that I had to do. Sorry, guys. What's up, Larry?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good.
How you guys doing? Bora, good to see you. Eric, good to see you.
Yep.
Yeah. So we.
What have you guys been talking about?
We've been, we were talking about, a little bit about economics and Farhans and we have been dealing with we started off with the Jung Hoo Lee signing, and then we got into Jim Bowden's article on the remaining 17 free agents and what he's hearing from agents and where they'll sign and their contracts. He had Lee going to the Giants for 5 years and $92.5 million. So he was pretty much right on the dollar annual AAV and just got the extra year. He's got also Reese Hoskins coming to the Giants.
That would be exciting.
And he had who was the pitcher went to the Royals? Seth Lugo. He had Seth Lugo. This is an article that was out going to the Royals. So he's two of the guys that have signed. He's nailed so far in Lee and Lugo. So
where's he have Chapman going?
Blue Jays.
Going back to the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays for 6 years.
That's interesting.
And he had Bellinger staying with the Cubs for 7 years, 171. He's got the pitchers. He's got Yamamoto going to the Yankees and Jordan Montgomery staying with the Rangers, and Blake Snell going to the Mets.
What pitcher does he have coming to the Giants? None.
None. And that's where this thing's got to change. They've got to land one of those 3 starters.
Tell Larry the projections for both Snell and Montgomery, how they're about the same. I'm curious.
Yeah, they're both about the same. He had them both at 6 years, 165-ish.
It's got to be more than that.
Here's the thing on the pitching is that I kind of like the idea of getting the pitcher on the with the dangled carrot. You know what I mean? Like I'd like to get Tyler Glasnow because he's a free agent next year.
We're here. He's there's trade rumors out right now
getting
tonight.
Close to getting to the Dodgers.
Getting close to going to the Dodgers.
See, he's the guy to get, man. He's a power arsenal guy who's, Dodgers have rotation problems. I mean, let's be honest about it. The LA's rotation, they're leaning on Pepio, and they're going to lean on some Bobby Miller. They're going to lean on 3 really young guys in their rotation. And that's if they get another guy and Buehler at the top. In some ways, I think the Giants' rotation, I wouldn't say is better than LA because LA's got not just young arms, but really good young arms. But the Giants have good young arms too, and I just think that the anchor of LA's rotation is Buehler, and I'd rather have Logan Webb as the anchor of the rotation because I think he's more for sure, as far as health and readiness, and Buehler could be better, but Buehler could also be hurt. So I kind of, I'd love to see Yamamoto come to the Giants. That's the guy that I'd love to see. And it's so funny because I've heard people who questioned Yamamoto, but love the signing the Giants made today. And all I would say is to those people is you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I mean, it's just as simple as that. Yamamoto is easily the best starting pitcher out there. I mean, in the free agent market, his stuff, he's ridiculous. He's young Lincecum if I've ever seen it. I love Yamamoto. I think Yamamoto could be one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. I mean, Yamamoto he's 25. He has a windup that has very little motion to it, but then there's tremendous torque in the way he kind of hurls himself towards home plate. His fastball sits like 96 to 98. It's a total strikeout pitch. His command is absolutely unbelievable. Makes Lincecum's command look like nothing. It makes Lincecum look like he's just spraying it around out there. And Lincecum had good command. And then he's got a splitter that's nasty and a curveball that's kind of like unique. I mean, I don't know how to explain that, but other than it's kind of comes from a weird arm angle, you can tell guys don't see it. Yamamoto played in Japan. Japan is kind of like better than AAA, not as good as the majors. Lee, on the other hand, played in Korea. Korea is much more like high A ball or double A. I mean, you're talking to somebody who wagered on the KBO during the pandemic. I've watched a lot more KBO than I care to admit. It's not pro ball in Japan. Japan's a much higher level than the KBO. So, and this kid's coming off an injury, a down year. He gets by having a great batting eye. I think in the majors, they're going to attack him in the zone a lot more. They're not going to nibble off the corners. He's coming off a year where he didn't have a lot of power. So I've seen some reports that don't believe he's this awesome center fielder, that he's actually more of a corner outfielder. So I don't know. I mean, I think Lee, I mean, I know there's a lot of Giants people that are just so dying for the Giants to feel good about the Giants and we're all in that bunch as well. I mean, we all want to feel good about what the Giants are doing, and they haven't done anything. And so we all want to embrace this and just be like, hey, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. But in reality, that's a dramatic overpay for a guy that I think projects to be like a Jeff McNeil, which Jeff McNeil last year had 270 average, 10 home runs, 10 stolen bases. I think that's,
but McNeil did win the batting title, I believe, the year before, right? In 22.
And he's a 2-time All-Star.
Yeah.
It's not like he's a bum. He's a 2-time All-Star. But as far as those numbers, are you really going to pay? I mean, somebody, Adam Copeland from KMBR retweeted at me, and he's like, I think Lee's going to be like Andres Torres in 2010. And Andres Torres in 2010 stole 26 bases. This guy's stolen 69 bases in 7 seasons in Korea.
Yeah, I saw your reply back. Yeah, Torres was only 426,000 or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean they didn't pay Torres very much compared to what they just definitely didn't pay Torres $19 million.
Right.
So I think it's a dramatic overpay.
The question is if the KBO is more like equivalent to AA
right
ball here. You got a guy in Wade Meckler who tore up AA and tore up AAA for that matter.
He tore up AAA
and then struggled. So Bora mentioned he thinks this move might be, more for year 2, 3, and 4, where it took Ha-Sung Kim, his first year hit 202 and then last year hit 260. He may come over and really struggle in year 1 as he learns major league pitching. But is that worth paying what you're saying is paying a guy almost $19 million a year when you got a guy in your system that's like Wade Meckler? Could he do that in a couple years and you don't even have to pay him?
There's just several things in Lee's story. And, I did a video on him last week, so I did some research on him then. I talked to some scouts. I've read a bunch of scouting reports, and there's just not a lot of KBO hitters that have come over. Now, Shin-Soo Choo has been the best of them.
Yes.
The best of them, and he rakes. And I've always loved Shin-Soo Choo. I think he's a tremendous hitter. But this was the quote from a scouting.
Is that the one with Tampa Bay? Is he with Tampa Bay?
He was with the Reds, wasn't he?
No, he was
with the Indians, wasn't he?
He was with the Rangers and the right.
Okay,
wasn't that?
Reds and the Rangers. I thought.
Who's the one that played first base with the
Rays?
Choi.
Yeah,
Choi.
G-Man Choi.
G-Man Choi. Okay, so
Chu has been easily the best KBO hitter, right?
I don't think Chu ever played in the KBO. I think he got drafted out of high school or something.
I think
he was drafted out of high school.
I don't know if he ever played in the KBO.
Interesting.
I thought somebody said he did. He
didn't. Might have.
You're right, because he made his major league debut at 22. So maybe not. Maybe we're just talking about Korean hitters.
Yeah,
he might not have been in the KBO.
He was in rookie with the Mariners.
But Chu hit 218 home runs. Chu was a lifetime 275 hitter. I'm looking at his baseball card right now. He had 20 homers, 22 homers, 16, 21, 13, 22, 22, 21, 24. He drove in as many as 90 in a year, and he stole as many as 22 in a season. And he had 4 years in a row where he went 21, 22, 12, 21, 20 as far as stolen bases. And he was a doubles machine. He had 43 doubles in 2012 with Cleveland. He came up with Seattle, and then he went Seattle, Cleveland, 1 year in Cincy, and then the rest in Texas as a DH.
Mm-hmm.
But, Shin-Soo Choo was a tremendous player.
Yeah, he was good.
He's now 41. He's out of baseball, right?
Yeah.
Since 2020. He hasn't played since 2020 with Texas.
Larry, you mentioned Yamamoto, and I'm completely on board with you. I think he's going to be a star. I think he's going to be great. But we just learned that he is projected to be in a 6-man rotation, and he's not going to be in that 5-man rotation. Does that take away anything?
No, I think this is the future, Bora. I think the future of major league rotations is 6-man rotations. I think that's where it's going. I think the Giants are going to be on the cutting edge of that. When you say does it do anything? You mean change the value because of the less starts?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've heard people say that they don't think that he's worth $200 million. I would say he's a power pitcher with plus command. Now, the question I would have is he's Lincecum. You know what I mean? So let's take a look at Lincecum's card. How many years did Lincecum have?
He had about 5 good ones.
That would be my biggest concern with Yamamoto, is that he may have a Lincecum type career. I mean, he's got a lot of torque. He's 5'10", 5'11". He's not big. Lincecum was great in 2008. He was great in 2009. He was 16-10 in 2010. He was 13-14 in 2011, 10-15 in 2012. Just looking at the ERAs, Lincecum really only had 4 years where he had that ERA sub 3. 1 year was actually 3.43. So his ERAs went 2.62, 2.48, 3.43 in 2010, 2.74 in 2011. Wasn't that the year he threw the no-no?
Yeah. No, it might have been 20.
Was it 12? Might have been 12 or 13.
I think it was.
But I mean, he won double digits until 2014. So if you just count how many double-digit win seasons he had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's about what I would feel comfortable giving Yamamoto. 7 years.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want to give him 9.
There's talk about Bauer. They're saying 10. They're saying maybe 12.
That's crazy. What I would do is
crazy.
If you're going to sign Yamamoto, take a book out of what you just did with Lee and give him an opt-out after 5 years so he can hit free agency after his age 30 season. Give him that opportunity.
There's also a couple people that are saying Yamamoto was throwing 125, 130 pitches in Japan. So
right. So he's not really as young as.
Yeah, I don't want him throwing every 6 days. I'd keep his pitch count at 100 and 110. I want him out there every 5 days. If I'm giving you that kind of money, you need to be out there every 5 days.
I don't think
every 6 days is 27 starts in the year.
That's
So
kind
he's
of
gonna
how
make
they.
about $1.2 million per start.
Here's something we'll just. Tom Verducci was on with Tolbert and Copes today. Said, I was told the teams went to him brought up the possibility of him playing a corner, and he was like, "No, I'm coming here to play center field." I like that about a player. So, yeah, I kind of like that too. He does seem to have an attitude of, a little spunk,
swag, which the Giants need very badly.
I mean, there's some highlights of him, and
a lot of there's more than one scout out there saying that he profiles better as a left fielder.
Yeah,
Especially
I'm looking at this.
I can see that.
Will Martinez, his Twitter, he posted a scouting report. He says, or the thing says, he primarily projects to rack up doubles while hitting 10 to 15 home runs. Lee is more of an above-average runner than a true burner. He has solid instincts and runs good routes in center field, but his range is a tick short, particularly on balls hit over his head. Lee has reliable hands and projects to be an average defender in center field, though he may have trouble in more expansive outfields. He has fringy arm strength that will force him to left field if he has to move.
Now let's bring up Brock Purdy's profile, his scouting report. Let's see how
that's a good one. Yeah.
Scouting reports are not always right.
Do not judge a book by its cover.
Here's the thing. We're talking about a guy who's got a big swing. A big swing. Now it's kind of, he's like short to the ball, long through the ball. He's also kind of looks like he's got kind of a flat swing through the ball, but a gigantic kind of uppercut post contact. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like when you watch him, he looks like he's on the baseball, like a high average hitter, but then he's got this gigantic uppercut. Here's my biggest concern is that now somebody showed, look, in the WBC, he hit a 95-mile-an-hour pitch from Darvish to right field. Okay.
He pulled it too.
That's one we're talking about once. I mean, I can show you Jason Vosler, down and in where he golfed it out and looked awesome.
Yeah.
the reality is he's going from a league where the pitchers throw average fastball at 88 to a league where the average fastball gets harder and harder every year. You're going to face 94 almost every night. That's the average. And there's all kinds of guys who can throw 98. 98. 98 in the big leagues is not crazy. That's like, you see that all the time. And I just see a guy who has great batting eye, which is one of the reasons he's so good in the KBO. He's got a really keen batting eye. But in the majors, I don't think they're going to work off the edges and off the corners of the plate to this guy. I don't. I think that they're going to come at him with hard stuff in the zone or on the hands. They're not going to nibble. They're going to come at him nightly with hard stuff in the zone. So I think that's going to negate this incredible batting eye, because I think the approach is going to be attack him with hard stuff. And then I saw more reports. They're saying he struggles against the slider and struggles against the cutter. Literally,
that's all Major League pitchers throw are cutters, pretty much.
This is the bigs right there: cutter, slider, hard fastball. Then you look at the fact that they're saying he hits the ball hard on the ground to the right side of the diamond a lot. That's not good. That is not good. He hits ground balls 60% of the time. So maybe it translates, but maybe it doesn't. And all I'm saying is you got a guy with kind of a slight frame coming off a major injury, with an elongated swing, who's playing in a league where the fastball's 88. Now the fastball's 95. And I just think that they're going to challenge him in the middle of the plate, and we're going to see what he can do. And then, the other thing is, can he adjust? How professional of a hitter is he? Ichiro was people say, well, he's like Ichiro. He's not Ichiro. Ichiro was a master. Ichiro could hit the outside pitch down the left field line and paint it on the line. From what I'm reading in the scouting reports, and granted, this is a lot of scouting reports, right? Because I don't watch the KBO every night. So I'll say that. But from what I'm reading, his swing is not suited for hitting the ball to the opposite field with authority. That he at best, he's a singles hitter to the opposite field. That he doesn't drive it in the gaps opposite field. So I don't know. It's like, we'll see where it goes. The one that really is scary, this quote. This is one of the quotes that I got from the scouting report. To improve and cement himself as a serious major leaguer, Lee will have to completely overhaul his swing. Combined with the fact that KBO pitchers simply don't challenge hitters anywhere close to the level that MLB pitchers can, Lee's likelihood to produce in 2024 is bleak. That's not Larry Krueger saying that. That's me doing a deep dive online, going into the KBO scouting reports. And I've had a couple of different scouts that I've talked to said, I haven't seen him firsthand, but based on what I've seen, I wouldn't doubt that. And that blew my mind. And then when I saw $113 million and almost $19 million a year, I was thinking, guys, that this guy was going to get 12 to 14 and that it would be like a 3-year deal. And instead, it's a much bigger deal for much bigger money. And the skeptical angles are all there. So, $19 million a year. You guys know I'm a Giants fan. I'm not going to be turning into a Dodger fan or a A's fan or a Cubs fan or a Chi Sox fan. So I'm hoping that he's good, because we're all going to be watching it a lot. But I got to consider myself skeptical today.
Well, they're all legitimate concerns for sure. We got to see what he has in spring training, and if it's going to be upon him to make those adjustments. With the fastball coming in faster, like you said, he might have to go the opposite way more than he's used to going. So I just have more faith. I have faith in like Asian hitters making adjustments coming over here. Like I was saying at the beginning of the show, Larry, like left-handed Asian hitters, they stand in there. They keep their shoulder in. They don't flinch on sliders and curves. They're very disciplined hitters, very fundamental. So we'll see what he's got. See if he makes the adjustments.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does. I don't think spring training is the be all say all, though.
Absolutely, yeah. Sure.
You're going to have to let him play every day, and the tendency with the Giants, especially with Farhan regime, we don't know about Bob Melvin, but whenever a player struggled with Kapler and Farhan, they just yank him. You got to let this guy play. If he struggles and hits 200 and strikes out more than he walks, and his statistics.
Well, they have to play him every day. It cannot be a platoon situation.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
If it's a platoon situation, they screwed up mightily. Would we all agree there?
Yes. 100%.
So what I'm saying is, my point is exactly this. You just let him play this year, and if he struggles and hits 200 and he strikes out over 150 times and he looks overmatched, you got to play him. Let him work through it.
What if he, Danny, not sorry to interrupt you, but what if he's like, what if the reports and everything, what if it's uneven? Like, give you an example. What if this guy is truly the most professional at bat on the team, right? He knows the zone, works the count, just always gives you a great at bat and plays the hell out of center field, but hits 6 home runs and doesn't really steal more than 12 bases. And his arm in center is really lacking, let's say. Because you know the way these things are. It's not going to be like he's great in all phases or he's terrible in all phases. Some of these scouting report things are going to be nothing, and some of these scouting report things are going to be something. So I don't know how it's going to look, but let's just say the guy comes into the league and he's a 280 hitter. He hits 280. He gives you a really good at bat. He plays the hell out of center, but there's really not much power there. There's no real throwing arm, and he hits 7 home runs, maybe some doubles, but
so what you're saying is he's Brett Butler.
Yeah, no, because Brett Butler stole 40 and 50 bags a year.
Yeah,
this guy's going to steal 10. What if he comes out and he doesn't give you a ton of power and he doesn't give you a ton of speed, but he gives you a real professional at bat and great defense and center? You could be happy with that?
I would be intrigued. I'm not going to say I would be happy, but I mean, he's not going to be
a lot of money for that.
It is a lot of money for it, but I think I said before, this signing isn't necessarily for this year. It's for year 2, year 3, and beyond. And I think it's going to be a struggle for him to be able to translate to MLB pitching. But if he can show a professional at bat and he can play really good center field, then I would be intrigued, just because he's going to improve. He's still only 25. He's really young, and this is going to be his first year in the big leagues. I think if he has that type of year, he's definitely going to improve, and it's something to build on.
Here's a question. The Giants are known for overpaying for 30 and 31-year-olds that don't have much more upside.
If you gave me
let's get a 25-year-old and see what he could
do. The recipe for the Giants to win, if he played a great center field, hit you 280, didn't strike out a lot, had an on-base percentage of 350 plus in that range. If they could put 6 or 7 guys that did that in the lineup and only had one or 2 guys that hit 20 home runs, but had 3 top-of-the-line starting pitching like Yamamoto, Webb, and Snell, and then you filled that in the back end of the rotation with Harrison and Stripling until Cobb comes along, I'd be good with that.
Good with what? I mean, who's hitting in the middle of the lineup, though?
That's what I was going to say.
This is the worst middle of the lineup.
Well, if you had a couple guys that could drive in some runs,
you still got to get a middle of the lineup.
Let's say Conforto and Hoskins.
You got to get more for sure.
But because he could hit 280, and then who's going to hit him in? That's the issue.
Well, here's the thing, guys. Let's say you got Conforto and Hoskins signs, and you got some pop there, and then
how about Soler and Hoskins? If you got Soler and Hoskins, now I'm feeling much better.
Yeah, I would love that, but I don't think they're going to get Soler. But that would be great. But hear me out. If you got a couple guys that hit the long ball that hit you 20 plus, and then you got another group that are getting you 15 plus, but they're not striking out. You're not getting the big 3-run homers all the time, but you're moving the line with hits, and you get a run here, a run there, and you win the ball games 4-2, 3-1, 3-2. That's how the Giants are going to have to play this.
That's how they won 3 World Series.
Yes, if they go after and try and get the top stars, they're going to strike out on those guys. They need to get guys that can make contact with the ball. But it doesn't – if they don't have good top-of-the-line pitching, if they're a middle-of-the-road pitching, let's say they're out of 30 teams, let's say they're 12th. That's not going to cut it. They need to be top 3 in Major League Baseball in pitching. And if they have the top 3 pitching staff and they get guys that get on base, then that's the recipe for the Giants to compete. They're not going to get – unless they go out and trade for – an Arozarena or sign a Soler and get some boppers. I just don't see them have, and especially guys from the left side. Right-handed hitting power works pretty well in Oracle.
All day. Right-handed power works well in that ball.
Ellis Burks had no problem. Jeff Kent had no problem. Andres Galarraga had no problem. Can
we talk about the obvious thing though? Who are the best teams in the game this year?
Braves, Dodgers,
Rangers.
Okay, bingo. Braves, Dodgers, Rangers were the best teams. Braves were the best in the regular season. Rangers won the World Series. Dodgers won 100 games. Those were the best teams in the game. If you were going to add another team, you'd probably say what? Tampa or somebody like that, right?
Maybe the
Philadelphia.
Phillies.
Okay, this is where they ranked in runs scored. Braves, 1, 947 runs. Dodgers, 2, 906 runs. Rangers, 3, 881 runs. You got to be able to score runs. Tampa, 4, 880 runs.
Larry, what was the...
You got to be able to score runs. All the best teams in the game. Orioles had a great year. They scored 800. Cubs scored a bunch of runs and weren't very good. But Astros, Rays, Rangers, Dodgers, Braves, these are some of the best teams in the game. They all scored at the top of the game. They all scored the most runs in the
Braves,
game. Where are the Giants? Where were the Giants, by the way? 24th. 24th. Ahead of the Yankees, by the way. But 24th with 674 runs. Now, I get it. But let's go to the bottom of the run scored list and count how many teams there are before there was a good team in there. A's, worst. White Sox, Tigers, Guardians, Marlins, Yankees, Giants, Royals, Pirates, Nationals, Mets, Cardinals, Rockies, Brewers, I guess maybe not bad. Not a bad team.
What number are they like?
Toronto. I'm just saying, my whole point is that it's a game now where the best teams in the game are the teams that can flat out swing it. You got to be able to score runs. You're not going to win every game 3-1.
The World Series is a perfect example. Bunch
you got to be able to slug, man. You got to be able to slug. Now let's look at home runs. Who are the best home run teams in the game? Braves are 1. Dodgers were 2. Rangers were 4. Once again, you got to be able to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Where were the Phillies? Like 5 or 6?
Phillies are 8.
Okay.
Top 10.
Tampa was 6. The only real bad teams in the top 10 for home runs, how did Minnesota fare? What was their record?
First place.
They won
their division.
How did I meant Angels? Angels, what was their number? Where were they? Angels. So it goes Braves, Dodgers, Twins, Rangers. Angels would be the only real bad team that hit home runs. Then there's Rays, Astros, Phillies, Yankees because of their park, and Mets, 9-10. So I guess not Yankees and Mets weren't good.
Are we saying that in order to have
you got to be able to score. it's a game still of three outcomes. It's the strikeout. It's the
strikeout, walk, and home run.
Strikeout, walk, and home run. Those are the three results. I think what you got to do in the Giants park is you got to build a really good rotation, some real power arms in front of Doval, and power. When the Giants come to town, it's bye baby. Now you got to play defense up the middle, and they got Bailey, and now they got this kid Lee. We'll find out if how is Luciano going to be the everyday shortstop? Are they going to go for a defensive shortstop? I mean, I've heard mentions of the Arizona guy, Nick Ahmed, that they could go for him on the cheap to kind of pair with Luciano. But you got shortstop. I love Schmidt and Davis at third. I'm fine with that. And Bailey behind the plate. And then it's just a matter of, can you get like a guy like Hoskins, and can you get a big time corner outfielder? I mean, that's what they need. They need they need to have starting pitching, some start, a couple, to me, I would try to trade for Corbin Burns. I mean, the Giants have enough depth of prospects now that they should be able to put together a pretty attractive, pretty large volume deal involving arms for at least one good arm. Like if they want to get Corbin Burns, I think they could get him.
They're talking about, if Bellinger, let's say they got Bellinger, and with the makeup of Oracle Park, he could play right field, and going into Triple's alley, that's glove side, right? Let's see, running into.
If you have Bellinger, you put him in center, aren't you?
Side.
Yeah,
just put him in center, put Lee in left.
Well, yeah, he would ideally be the center fielder, but if this Lee kid says, "Hey, I signed to play center field," if they have an agreement,
well,
I don't know.
First of all, it's all going to be dependent on how he throws, I think. Because we're talking about a 420-foot right center. So if the guy really has a bad arm, he's probably going to play left, and especially if you had Bellinger, right? If you have Bellinger in that park, I think you want two big arms in this park, right and center, because there's some long throws. I think the pie throwers have to go to left.
Yeah, and the one thing that's nice about getting Lee though is it's like, okay, it forces them to do something with Yaz and Slater to get them out of center field. I mean, I would almost. We talked about this before you came on. Haniger's a guy that is injury prone. Get him out of the field, make him your DH, and
okay, so Haniger's your DH,
and make.
I'm going to write this down. I'm going to see what this team looks like after we go around the diamond here. So
the thing with Haniger is, I think most of his injuries have been while he's in the box. I think it's been like him breaking his arm or breaking his wrist.
Yeah, kind of fluke stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so just put him out in left field and don't let him at bat then.
Well, he could DH. Who's your left-handed DH? Lamont Wade?
Wade. Assuming you sign Hoskins.
If you can sign Hoskins.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what about Wilmer Flores? He might have been one of their best players last year.
Well, this is what we talked about. He's got a great contract, right? He's only like $5-6 million a year, and he's got 2 more years left. We think that he would actually bring value. I mean, you could keep him as your pinch hitter and an occasional play first base, but what would teams that are great teams, like I'm thinking like someone like who's Atlanta's DH?
Was it Ozuna?
It might have been Ozuna.
Was it?
I think it was Ozuna.
Is he coming back?
I have no idea.
I think they signed him long term.
A team like Harper, they have the Phillies have
they also used didn't they have Rosario too? They used Rosario.
Yeah. What about the Orioles? Who is the Orioles DH?
The Orioles DH
was Hicks when they traded for him, right?
Was it?
I think it was Hicks.
They used Mount
Aaron
Castle and Santander.
Santander, yeah.
Yeah, Anthony Santander and Ryan O'Hearn.
Flores might be able to bring you something with his cheap contract, 2 years of control. Had his best year. He's now what, 32-ish?
Yeah, he's 32.
Okay, that's it. I mean,
if you look at the Giant rotation right now, you say, okay, you got Logan Webb, and then is Cobb going to be ready for opening day or no?
No.
When's he out till?
Probably June or July.
Middle of the year, yeah.
Okay, so he's out. Then you still have Harrison, and I really think that Wisenhunt is right on the verge. I mean, he just throws ridiculous stuff. I mean,
I think Stripling makes a comeback, and he's in the rotation at the beginning of the year. I think it's Webb, Stripling.
I think they're going to sign. I have a feeling they're either going to sign Yamamoto, Snell, or Montgomery. Yeah. They're going to trade for.
I would say Yamamoto or the Cubs guy.
Stroman.
The Giants front office has to think, we need to get some pitchers in here, not only obviously to help our team, but to keep them from the Dodgers, because that's their weakness. So you keep 2 or 3 guys away from them and strengthen your team, win-win. Dodgers are desperate for starting pitching.
Yeah.
Well, the Giants are going to be fighting for third place.
Yeah, no matter what they do.
No matter what they do, they're going to be fighting for third place in this division to get. I mean, you might get an occasional second place if Arizona drops off. Baseball's kind of a funny game. Teams drop off from year to year. I mean, we saw the Giants win the World Series in 10, miss the playoffs in 11, miss the playoffs in 13 and 15. So you can't just count on, because a team made the playoffs and went to the World Series, you can't just write them in next year as an automatic playoffs berth. The only teams, in my opinion, that you can write automatically in for the playoffs are the Dodgers and the Braves next year. I mean, even the Phillies could have a fall off.
Arizona right now, in NL West, Arizona has the best rotation right now.
Yeah, but did you just hear what I just said? You can't. Yeah. I mean, the Giants won in 2010.
Yeah,
with the best rotation.
Exactly.
They made the playoffs in 11. Posey got hurt, but 2012 they back. 2013, still great team, missed the playoffs. 2015, after another magical season, missed the playoffs. Most teams don't do what the Dodgers have done and made 11 consecutive playoff appearances.
True.
I mean, that's shameful for the Giants. The Giants are to be that rich, to have that kind of revenue, to have that kind of an advantage, to be totally non-competitive, rendered as second-class citizens in your division to the Dodgers is not acceptable. That's not acceptable. And no Giant fan should accept that. And Giants ownership should not accept that. To me, it's a shameful that the Dodgers commandeered the division like a stranglehold, and now Arizona's going by you. San Diego's putting on a much better party. Their energy and their ballpark, their team, their product, if you want to call it that, they're exciting their fans. They're selling tickets. You're not exciting your fans. You're not selling tickets. So I think the Giants need to get some offense and add some starting pitching. I mean, they spend some money. If this is true, we know, what do we know based on at the end of the year to right now? We know that the price tag for Shohei Ohtani was $700 million, and that the Giants claim that they made every penny available that the Dodgers did. That means they've got $700 million to invest in this team. And if they go and spend that $700 million well, they should have a competitive team. But it's a matter of who can they land. And I mean, they should be able to sign if they have $700 million to spend, and they just spent some on Lee. They've got easily enough, for 2 good starting pitchers and 2 good hitters. So, now it's time to go do it. Now, if Hoskins is the guy, great. I think that would be a great one. Maybe there's a trade that could be had, but I mean, I definitely should think that they should stop thinking about themselves as, well, maybe we can finish third, because really, you're right. That's exactly how they're thinking. And that's why nobody's going to the games, because it's like, well, I'll go when they're good. They got some good young talent here too, that I think that I don't not necessarily banking that they know how to handicap their own talent that well. I mean, we'll see, but they've got some good young players like Casey Schmidt. I like Casey Schmidt. Luis Matos. I like Luis Matos. Luciano's got some bat speed. I mean, these are guys that
they're saying Matos may be a trade candidate.
Yeah, I've read that today. I don't like hearing that because Matos has got a ton of talent.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
He's similar to Lee. I just saw this quote from Buster Posey. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is recent. Something I think is noteworthy, something that unfortunately keeps popping up from players and even the players' wives, is there's a bit of uneasiness with the city itself as far as the state of the city with crime, with drugs, Posey said. Whether that's all completely fair or not, perception is reality. It's a frustrating cycle, I think, and not just with baseball. Baseball is secondary to life and the important things in life. But as far as free agent pursuit goes, I have seen that it does affect things.
Interesting. And that's from Buster when?
That's recent. I think I don't know when, but I think in the last couple days or week.
Well, you know what? Good for him for saying it because he's absolutely right.
Yep.
He's absolutely right. That is the one part of this, as much as I get frustrated with the Giants, the one pass. People are like, give him a pass, give him a pass. I'll give him this pass. In this city right now, there's not a lot of people who are racing from the burbs to go into the city for unless they're going to see something really great. Or it's going to be, they have to be driven into the city at this point because guess what? It's not the city. Times have changed. You can do you don't need to go into downtown San Francisco to do Christmas shopping or anything else. People don't even go into anywhere. They just do it from their computer and that kind of stuff. So all that's gone. That whole Westfield Mall closed up shop. There was like 20 stores in there. The departures of the corporations under this mayor, it's real. Whether it's her fault or not, it's happened under her watch.
I hear the Embarcadero's a ghost town now.
And it's dirtier than ever with needles and feces and people that should be in institutions walking around uttering things to themselves and all kinds of camp outs and whatever you want, encampments. And I'm sensitive to it. I'm not sitting there. I know these people got to go somewhere, right? But that's the conditions, and you're sitting there watching these, and San Francisco's become a political football. So it's used as an example as the most extreme part of what's going on in this country right now. That's what's going on, I think, and so there's a lot of people, whether it's legitimate or not. I think Buster's onto something. There's a lot of wives. I mean, where are these ball players coming from? They're coming from Arizona, Florida, Georgia. There's a lot. It's a lot of the South, and it's like if their wives look at the images of San Francisco and say, you know what? There's an awful lot of crime there. There's an awful lot of there's people actually going to the bathroom on the streets. Yeah, it's awful. Defecation and needles and drugs and it's just they're not. And they've got little kids and they've got money in the bank and they want to sit there and they want to raise their kids. They're not running to San Francisco. And in some cases, I bet you they're running away.
Yep.
So I think it's that, unfortunately, I think is a giant. That's nothing to do with Farhan, nothing to do with Buster or Charles Johnson or the Giants ownership. That's just the conditions. And so that's real. And I think that's a major player in this thing. So that's a hurdle. I mean, let's be honest. That is a major hurdle when your city, even though I'm there all the time, it's a beautiful city. It's not that dangerous. It's the best weather in the country. There's it's all the things of the Bay Area that were spectacular 2 years ago are still spectacular now. Except if you're parking in downtown San Francisco, you're probably going to have to step over somebody who's laying around. You're going to see open drug use. And it's like 50-50 whether when you come back to your car, whether your window's going to be bashed in and your bag's going to be taken. So that's the conditions, and those are real. There's pools of glass all over San Francisco if you're walking around town. That's real.
Well, Farhan did hint at that, and
so the Giants are having to. I feel bad for them in that way. That these are the conditions, and they had nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing to do with that. They've won their 3 titles. They've run their organization classy. They've had great entertainment. They've bolstered that neighborhood with the presence of the ballpark. None of this has anything to do with the Giants, and yet they're feeling the brunt of it. And I think that is a story that probably should be talked about more.
They are, but I mean, at the same time, they're going to have to work around it. And the way you work around it is by either overpaying the hell out of people, or you make trades. And we haven't seen Farhan make a trade for an actual decent MLB player in a while. I mean, this is what we want to see. Work around the struggles that are in San Francisco. Do something.
Did Farhan ever make a trade when he was with the Dodgers? A significant trade?
That's a great question, Eric, because, it's so funny you're bringing this up, guys, because I was thinking today, what would be an amazing tweet? And it told me, I'm like, well, I don't have enough. It's going to take me like 2 hours to put it together. But it's like, let's just look at, since Farhan has been the general manager of the Giants, who he has added and not traded, because he's traded very little, but who he's added in that period of time. And in that same period of time, what players LA has added?
Oh, gosh.
Because you're talking about like Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts. I mean, you got, all kinds of guys that they have added. And it's like,
Max Scherzer, Trey Turner.
The Giants list of guys that Farhan has added is eternal. Like, only because I pay the $8 a month for the blue check can I possibly even write all the names in there. Right? Otherwise, I'd have character limitations. No, but it's they've acquired a ton of guys, and who's good? I saw a list of his 10 best trades, and it's
Tyro Estrada, Mike Yastrzemski.
That's one too.
Lamont Wade, maybe. He had
JD Davis has got to be on there, and that.
Here it is. Here's the top 10 as they list them. Number 1, Tyler Herb for Mike Yastrzemski, best Farhan trade of all time. Number 1. So Mike Yastrzemski is the best player he's acquired. Cash for Tyro Estrada. Great move.
Good move.
Sean Anderson for Lamont Wade.
Pretty good move. Pretty
good move.
Decent.
Big Darren Ruff.
Wait, Lamont Wade is a friend of the show.
It's Lamont Wade Jr., the San Francisco Giants, and you're listening to Dan on the NorCal Sports Network.
All right, there we go.
It's Lamont Wade.
That he's seen it a ton too.
And we don't want Luis Matos traded. Because
hey, this is Luis Matos.
Just for that alone.
Larry, let me ask you something. You're an OG like me and Dan from San Francisco. In your opinion, compared to the Warriors and the 49ers, why haven't the Giants been able to attract free agents for the last 40 years? They got Bonds and Zito. So this
it's not one answer. It's a bunch of answers. It's not one. First of all, multiple ownerships. Bob Lurie was a great guy. I knew Bob Lurie, know Bob Lurie. His kid and I were friends, and he was a great owner, and he was a very wealthy man. But and he made a big pursuit for Rod Carew. That was his guy that he went after. I don't know if you guys remember that, but this is way, way back. Didn't get him, almost got him. And, great guy. And then he sold the team. The Giants, then were more focused on staying afloat. The Giants in their last 10 years, I remember talking to Larry Bear about this. Giants in their last 10 years, they bought the team in 92. From 92 to the end of the decade, lost $100 million. Without Barry Bonds, they may have lost $200 million. And they had lost a lot of money, but they were committed. They knew they were going to lose that money because they were committed to Pac Bell Park. And they knew that if they built the park, paid off the mortgage, eventually that debt service would all be gone, and they'd be sitting atop the greatest real estate deal in the history of San Francisco. And that's what's happened. And now they're on the back end of that. And that's what's the most frustrating about this is that they have the money.
Yeah.
You know, they have tremendous revenue.
So they couldn't sign people when they didn't have money, and
they couldn't. They didn't have money.
They do have money.
Yeah, they didn't have money for a long time.
Well, have they decided to pocket it now, or?
I just think that I think they're just waiting for. They don't want to spend it frivolously. They want to spend it on meaningful things, and so they're really, waiting. I mean, let's give them a little credit from the standpoint of they did go after big guys. They just haven't gotten them. I mean, it's frustrating. It's not, but if they're not one of these teams, it's like, well, we're not going after anybody, but they're not landing them. And I think they've not landed them early in Farhan's tenure because I think Farhan probably was not not necessarily the way he wanted to build it. And I think that's also part of why Farhan was brought in, because they were going the wrong way with the money and they wanted a very lean and mean kind of team and jumpstart the farm system and do things cheaper and more efficiently. And then the first year they won 107 games, and it's like, whoa, here it is. And then since then, they've realized that, you know what, San Francisco there's two eras of great success for this ownership group. It was when they won the World Series with all the pitching, and Lincecum was the front of that. And then it was the Barry Bonds. All the people who came to the park in the 90s for Barry Bonds. And so I think they wanted Ohtani and Yamamoto as their new Barry Bonds and Tim Lincecum. And it looks like they're going to go for 2. Now, we know they're all in on Yamamoto. I don't know. Has there been any speculation anywhere that you guys have read about how they look at the market now that they've made one big signing? What are people projecting? Are people saying, are they still in on Yamamoto? Or are they going to take a back seat because of what they just spent?
Price tag has gone over $300 million, though.
Yeah, I think so. I know they had a meeting with or Yamamoto had a meeting with the Dodgers today. So a lot of people are pushing hard to get Yamamoto, specifically the New York teams and the Dodgers. Haven't heard so much. I know he met with the Giants early on, but I haven't heard any news as far as who's the leading contender.
I think it's going to be a bidding war. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets more than 350.
Oh, it's going to be more. Yeah, I think it's going to be more than 300. I don't know how much over. He might surpass Aaron Judge numbers. He might.
Why not?
I mean,
it's just you can't.
Seth Lugo, $15 million a year for 3 years. I mean,
like I said, everybody's getting overpaid.
You just can't put all your chips into Yamamoto. You got to spread them out. You can't just go all in on Yamamoto, and then when you strike out, it's just you have no plan. You got to have a plan for Yamamoto.
At least be committed to spend that money, right? Spend the same amount of money and go do it with numbers.
Yeah, they were going to drop 700 for Ohtani, so they're 100 into Lee. If they go 300 for Yamamoto, you have that's 400 million. So you got 300 million to play with. Are you going to go all in on one more player, or are you going to spread it out to
Well, there is one difference, though. They might have spent 700 on Ohtani, but they are also going to defer a shit ton of that money. It's not like,
Yeah.
So there is now the players are going to get now. They ain't going to defer nothing. Maybe Yamamoto, maybe, but these other guys with being Scott Boras being their agent.
By the way, how genius is that?
Maybe Lee will defer it.
How genius is it of Ohtani to do that?
Yeah,
I mean, I think we're going to see more creative, smart deals by athletes as they age. Because, I mean, seriously, first of all, he's in the kind of money territory where he's going to be fine either way, right? He can do it any way he wants. But to know that, hey, you know what, you got all this advertising money coming in right in the present in your earning power, and you know what I mean, and you can easily live on adding a couple $1 million to that through your salary. And then just bank the rest of that for your future. I mean, it's just the smartest play of all time of contracts. I think. I don't. It's a no interest deal, so there's that. But then think about it this way: he's clearly saying to the Dodgers, "Hey, you know what? Let's be partners because you want to win the World Series and I want to win the World Series, and both of our brands are going to explode in popularity and value if we win the World Series. So I'll defer 98% of my salary so you can go get Yamamoto and you can go get whatever you're going to get. and add to this team, and I'm going to be a World Series guy, and the fans think I'm a hero, and it's win, 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 win. And yet hardly any players have taken this approach. It kind of, and so many, not necessarily in baseball, but so many athletes in other sports get their money up front, start living big, run out of cash. I mean, it's really sad. Ohtani has set himself up to be just absolutely financially rock solid forever. He's like the new Bobby Bonilla.
Oh yeah. 68 million he's going to get for.
And everybody's praised Bonilla about that contract for years, but then nobody's done anything about it or tried to.
But I mean, this kid doesn't. If he needed the money, then he's doing the Dodgers a solid with the no interest, deferment. Danny, money more than anything, but
getting 8%.
Yeah, so this guy's not getting anything, but then also that that helps them build a better team, and then it's like you're committing to each other to win championships.
I mean, he basically is getting he's getting more kind of interest built in because he's getting a higher deal. Instead of taking $500 million, he's getting $7 million, so with no interest. But the Dodgers, they're just going to put $350 million into some, or 300 into some investment that'll grow to 700 in 10 years. They can do safe with interest rates being what they are right now. You can get a super great rate and have that money in 10 years double, and then they pay out of that, or they could put it into an annuity and it pays itself out.
Doesn't he also avoid a ton of taxes here?
Yep.
Yes, because the tax law is, I looked into this today, is if you take the payment for 10 years or longer, it's based on where you live, not where you earned it.
Oh, interesting. So he
does
does avoid $680 million. Wow.
He could move to Florida or Texas. He could go finish his career with the Rangers or Astros for a year or two and be getting that paycheck in Texas, and there's no taxes. So
really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's an unbelievable
deal. Ahead of its time.
Here, let me ask you guys this question. Yamamoto's projected to get 300, right?
Right.
Blake Snell's projected to get 160. Same with Jordan Montgomery. Would you rather have Yamamoto or Snell and Montgomery?
The Giants, I think, would rather have Yamamoto because he's box office.
Yeah.
But as far as, that's a great question. As far as I mean, even
what's better for the team?
Well, I think if you really expand it out even more, if you could find multiple guys, I think I'd try to do the starting pitching thing with depth. I mean, if you're going to have 6 starters and you don't know about Harrison, you don't know about Wisenhunt, Cobb, you're saying you're not going to have to the beginning of the year. I mean, they need some numbers, right? DeSclafani cannot be trusted. Stripling is a not a great option. So what do you got? You got Webb and a lot of question marks right now. Like who's the number 2 starter to?
They really don't know.
It has to be Harrison, right?
Nope.
I mean,
Pete Petulia said Alex Cobb.
Okay, well, I mean, he's injured, right? So who's gonna if the season started right now, it would have to be Harrison, right?
It'd be Harrison.
And then it'd be a combination of Stripling and DeSclafani and
is
Wynn
on the team
or Beck
and Wynn.
But those guys,
yeah,
you don't know what you have. I mean,
they're not stretched out. Yeah.
Bor, to answer your question based on Forhan's history with Kevin Gausman, he'd rather have Snell and Montgomery. He'd rather have 2 players for about $300 million than 1 superstar.
I would too. I don't fault him for that. Who are the other arms out there that they would be interested in? So like, if they didn't go Yamamoto, they didn't go Snell, they didn't go Montgomery.
There's Flaherty and Stroman and
Stroman,
Walker.
You could trade.
Miley
for
signed.
Burns
he went back to the Brewers.
Or
he did.
Yeah.
Glasnow.
That's a good move.
See, I would try to trade for Burns if I could get him. Or I'll tell you the one that makes a lot of sense, guys, is the Marlins supposedly are going to trade Edward Cabrera.
Yep.
Dylan Cease, Max Fried.
And also they need a catcher, right? So Joey Bart. Maybe Jazz.
I wonder what Joey Bart's value is, because I mean he's still what? He's
he ain't
25.
going to the Marlins.
How about this one? How about this one?
Not with Kapler there. Kapler doesn't like Bart.
Bub brings up a good point. How about Dan, your guy? How about Trevor Bauer? How about Trevor Bauer?
Trevor Bauer. I mean, that makes. I mean, that sounds like a Farhan move as far as take a chance on somebody whose stock is low. And there's other guys. I'll tell you the other move that, the guy that I think might be a steal this winter is Austin Meadows.
He signed.
He did.
He signed with look it up
today.
Yes, I can't remember the team.
See, I like him a lot.
I think maybe it was Cleveland. I'm not sure.
You're talking about a guy who's had 30 home runs, power, coming off a bad year.
Thought I heard Austin Meadows signed.
Here's a guy that Larry,
he's got a lot of talent. Austin Meadows, I like Soler a lot too. I mean, have you guys seen the highlight reel from last year for Jorge Soler?
That dude can swing it.
It's crazy.
He strikes out a lot though.
He strikes out, but you know what? He's had some monster years. He's got playoff experience. He's a right-handed power hitter. You could put him in right. I mean, he would be. I think he's the kind of guy that could hit 30 or 35 bombs for the Giants and give them a jump start. They need to get somebody who can produce, huge and get lucky on a couple starters. I mean, they got to hit on their whatever free agents they do sign. They got to get something out of these guys.
Yeah, Larry, you had mentioned Julio Urias before, right? Apparently,
who's got a domestic situation.
Today, the California Highway Patrol's Major Crimes Division concluded its investigation. So it's now up to the DA's office to decide if he's going to be criminally charged. Yeah. I'm not saying they should sign him, or I'm not saying anybody should sign him, but I'm saying
pass for now.
Exactly. For now, pass. I mean, see where this plays out. That could be an option.
Sign all the criminals. What the heck?
Right.
Come on.
Larry, do you like Michael Walker? He found that changeup again last year, and he was like 14-4.
Yeah. No, I know. He's A&M kid. Michael Walker is interesting. He's a battler. There's a couple guys further down on the list there that are interesting too. I mean, I'm sure they'll piecemeal a number of guys together, but I would say I'd rather see them do starting rotation in numbers. Go get 3 guys, 4 guys that you feel pretty good about, even if they're not the top guys. Because I don't know, to me, it's like that's pitching year to year. It's really speculative. Some guys get better, some guys get worse. You never know who's going to stay healthy. It's like I don't fault Farhan at all for being really conservative in putting all your money in the basket of one pitcher. But I do think Yamamoto is different because I do think he's box office, and I think they're looking for somebody who is going to be box office and get people in. And I based on what I've seen of Yamamoto, I'm a believer. I think he's going to be really, really good. So I think it's kind of like worth it to go after him, even though it seems really like a ton of money and a big gamble. I think he could be the preeminent starter in the game in the first month or two. And that could drive your entire, enthusiasm and resurgence if you had a player like that. So, it's just a matter of like how you see him. If you think he's just gonna be a number 2 starter, then you probably are like, whoa, that's a lot of money. But I think he could be like a franchise altering, like you got to see Yamamoto, and they kind of have to have a you got to see it kind of guy.
Oh, great.
Hey, did you guys? I want to bring up a point here. We got 235 roughly in the chat. We hit 250 roughly earlier.
Yep.
Everybody hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't made a comment in the chat, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We're here every night from roughly 8:30 to 11, maybe a little longer. Yeah, ish, 11-ish. Hey, if the chat stays, we don't go to sleep.
You may even catch Lowe's taking a nap in that chair over there.
Danny with the 14-hour streams.
Yeah.
You know who was filthy a couple years ago and fell off? I don't know if it was because of I think it was because of injuries. It was Severino of the Yankees has got nasty.
He's got a big arm, yeah.
I thought he
went to the
signed.
Mets. He went to the Mets.
He signed with the Mets?
He signed. He signed.
Hey, did you guys see the hilarious? I mean, the Mannings are just hilarious, but did you see Eli today?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's play this. This is awesome. Eli Manning on Brady Day taking a funny shot at Brady about his 2 rings he got with the New York Giants, but he does a little parody here. So let's pull up.
Who does the actual video, Dan? So I know.
I got it right here. What's that?
Okay, never mind.
Oh, Tom Brady.
It's courtesy Tom Brady.
It's right on Brady's.
No, it's Eli Manning.
Okay.
But it's Brady's.
It's his. Yeah.
What do you call it? His Twitter account.
Yeah. There we go.
So let me get some sound here. Let me start this. Oh.
Hey, Tom, I hear it's Brady Day, and it seems like people are sharing their favorite moments from your career. So I wanted to add my thoughts. Man, what a run you had. 23 years, 7 world championships, multiple MVPs. You're a Montreal legend. Personally, my favorite moments were those Giants championships. You've got a special place in the hearts of all of us from San Francisco.
Jeez.
Oh,
that's pretty good.
That is really good.
That is good.
Oh man.
Eli got that hat at the Dollar Tree.
I wonder whose rings he grabbed.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Nice little jersey head rocking there.
I bet you those were Busters.
Maybe.
What about Michael Lorenzen? He's a free agent.
He'd be a good 5th starter.
He finished the year with a 4.18 ERA. He
didn't sign already? I thought he signed.
I don't think he signed.
I don't think he's. I haven't seen his name.
He finished the year with a 4.18 ERA.
Okay, we got to be careful because Mr. Farhan Zaidi said they're not looking for pitching depth. They're shopping at the high end of the rotation.
Top of the rotation.
He doesn't want depth. That's what I'm just going by what Farhan said.
We'll see. He needs to land.
He also said they were, leave no stone unturned at the trade deadline, and wound up with AJ Pollock, who didn't even get a single hit. So he's let's just not focus on what he said anymore. I mean, let's just. I'm a doer at this point. Let's just see it. Let's just actually see it before we talk about it anymore.
Skubal available. Yeah, that was the guy you brought up the other day, Boris Skubal with the Tigers.
I like Skubal a lot. He's a hard thrower. He's young. He could be a
maybe
top end of the rotation.
Maybe you could with Scott Harris being at Detroit, maybe you can do a couple of arms that are in the minors that are not part of the Giants this year. Maybe they're a year or 2 away, and maybe you can add a couple arms and maybe a guy like Ramos or something like that. Ramos has either got to play this year or they got to move off of him. I mean, enough of just putting this guy at AAA and leaving him as some kind of depth piece for an emergency, like he's on
he's
fantasy squad.
Point. He might be the guy that lifts them up without them even knowing it. I mean, we're sitting here talking about all these guys spending big money here and there. This guy's got huge talent. Huge.
Yeah, they don't.
Elliot Ramos is just. I mean, he could be, the reason the team has a good first half. He's got that kind of talent. He could carry you if he got in there and they gave him a run and he got rolling. I mean, he's just got major talent, and I'm not sure what's happened there. I interviewed him in spring training. He's just as solid as they come, right? I'll tell you that. Yeah. I mean, I got a good sense of people. He's as solid as they get. And he's got to learn a little bit about, the consistencies of being a major league hitter, but man, who's got that kind of bat speed? Who's got that kind of foot speed? I mean, he reminds me of Raul Mondesi, who the Dodgers used to have years ago, which is fast and powerful. And it's like Ramos, I'd love to see the Giants find a way to give Ramos 6 weeks, at the beginning of the year, if he has a good spring, give him 6 weeks in right field where you play him every day. And then let's find out what, if this guy can do it, because I get the sense that he probably can. I mean, I asked Marty what Marty thought of him. He said he reminded him of Willie Mays. And
he has the body type of Willie Mays.
He's got the body type of Willie Mays.
Yeah.
I mean, he really does. He's 6 feet, 6'1", super athletic, lightning in his wrists, really fast, really powerful, can do everything. I mean,
his exit velocities are through the roof.
Yeah, he hit some balls last year over.
He does.
110, he just needs a shot. He just needs a good month.
He needs a run.
He needs a good month where no one touches him. He just gets to play.
Just play him.
Yes.
Give him 150 at bats. Okay, give him
straight.
Yeah, just play him in the lineup. 150 at bats. See where he's at, and that's the problem with this. What's going to
happen in the rest of that outfield, Danny? I mean. So right now they got Lee in center. They got Matos there. You're saying Matos may get traded. There's Wade. There's Slater. There's Yaz. There's Conforto.
Hanniger.
My question is how many of those guys are part of your future 2-3 years from now? Which guys?
Is Jock gone for sure?
Jock's
I
gone,
think so. I don't see him coming back.
I mean, Slater and Yaz aren't part of the future.
Neither is Hanniger.
Neither is Hanniger, neither is Conforto. So, I mean, your core outfielders really are Matos, maybe, and Lee, Meckler, maybe, Ramos, right now at least.
You know how you keep Lee? If he's a guy, let's say Lee, all of us, he struggles a little bit first year. Year 2, he's raking. Year 3, he starts off raking again. He can opt out after year 4. What you do is you rip up the contract and extend it right then and there. You don't wait till the end of the 4th year to let him walk out and go
Boris
sign.
Won't allow him to do that.
Yep.
Boris will not allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
he takes his guys to free agency
if you do it early enough, there's pros and cons. If you do it in year 2,
maybe.
If he's a player and you do it in year 2 and he can't opt out in year 4, you buy out years 2, 3, and 4, because there is a thing called injury that Boris, ought to be aware of, because a guy can get hurt and, all of a sudden he doesn't have any earning power in the future. So that's how but that's going to take time, but it looks like Lee's definitely part of the future. He's here for 4 years. So he's got one slot. You've got guys like Wade Meckler, who they're high on. Vaughn Brown, they were very high on a year ago. He didn't have a great year last year. But Vaughn Brown, Wade Meckler, Matos, and Ramos, that's 4 guys. And then they've got the kid, what's the kid?
Fitzgerald.
Well, Fitzgerald, but there's another kid that's coming up.
He just got promoted to Richmond at the end.
The 4th guy the guy that was left available on the Rule 5 draft. What's his name?
McCray.
They also Grant McCray. Yeah. They also have Yusniel Diaz, who's not
the guy from Cuba that they picked up.
I mean, he's a pretty good little.
That is a log jam in the outfield.
He's not a center fielder, I don't think.
Yeah, they have to, right? Los?
They've got to let some people go, preferably Slater, and I'm okay with Wade. Please, man, God.
I'm looking at
that's 8 to 9 outfielders we named.
I'm looking at Ha-Sung Kim, and I think he's a realistic option after next year.
Well, he's best friend.
He might be a trade option this
year.
Yeah,
because he's a free agent after this year, and supposedly he's best friends with Lee.
Exactly, and he was pushing hard for the Padres to get him. I would love Kim. I mean, he's a player. He steals.
Okay, let me ask you this: he's a
he had 38
shortstop,
bags last year,
and he can play. He plays short. He plays second, right, and left.
And
would you trade? Would you trade Luciano for him straight up?
No.
No, I wouldn't either.
Well, I don't know about that.
I wouldn't either, because what happens if he said, "I'll sign an extension for 5 years"?
No, I would bet on him wanting to play with his best friend.
No, I'm saying, would you trade Luciano if he was part of the deal? He signed a 5-year extension.
No, I wouldn't. Right now, I wouldn't, because I still want to see what Luciano has. I think Luciano has that star potential, and especially at shortstop.
Yeah.
Shortstops aren't like, they don't come by very often.
Keep them at short.
Keep him at short. Let him develop. Let him turn into an all-star shortstop, and you have your shortstop for 10 years.
Is
I'd love
Victor
to see that.
Robles a free agent?
Oh, from the Nationals?
I think he is, to be honest with you.
That's a guy I'd be going after. Victor Robles is what, once upon a time was a really,
What are you
really
going to put him, though? He's a center fielder.
Because I think, in this ballpark, if you're really going to win, you got to have great outfield defense. I would just want as many good defensive center fielders as possible. This guy hit 299, 385 on base. He's got, decent power. I think there's a lot of potential there.
He's under
What was
contract
the signing about last week?
He's not on the free agent market? I thought he was listed here.
No.
What was the signing about
last year of arbitration?
Last week, the guy, the Japanese player, I can't even pronounce his name. What was that all about? The guy that hit 197 with a negative WAR last year.
Yoshi, Tsutsugo.
Yeah, what is that? Where's he going to play?
Well, he plays first, and I did a video on this. He plays first and third and DH, and he has big power. Hit the ball into the Allegheny, but he's a
left-handed hitter, right?
Right, yeah, left-handed hitter.
He's not going to hit there in Oracle.
I wouldn't be expecting too much. They cut him in June. Texas did. He spent the rest of the year playing independent ball.
But he's not going to make the team, right? He's not. I
think he's AAA depth, to be honest.
Okay. Jeez.
I hope
he re-signed. Giants re-signed former NPB star to the minors with an invite to the camp, to MLB camp. Yeah, so he's not even on the roster right now.
I mean, Rhys Hoskins would be a tremendous get. Because I heard Dave Fleming told Tim Kawakami in the Kawakami podcast that when he talks to Hoskins when the Giants roll into Philly, that Hoskins loves San Francisco, and he went to Jesuit High School in Sac, and he went to Sac State, so he's a NorCal guy. And to me, I know he tore the ACL last year, but he's not the greatest defensive first baseman of all time. But you're talking about a big, commanding, right-handed power presence who's pretty much in the prime of his career.
Legitimate middle of the order guy.
He could easily have a great resurgence and be fantastic. Now, if you couldn't get him, I'd be all about the polar bear if the Mets are going to trade Alonso. I think Alonso would sell an awful lot of T-shirts in the Bay Area. I'll tell you the sleeper pick that I would be interested in would be like Jorge Polanco, who's a pretty good hitter. And Minnesota, isn't he a free agent? Minnesota's or a trade candidate. Minnesota's looking probably to move him because he's got a $12 million option, but that guy rakes. So, I mean, another guy, if you could, second base, Polanco, Tyro, have Tyro play a little short, with Luciano. I mean, they're going to get a middle of the infield player for sure. It'd be nice if they had an offensive player like Polanco.
Polanco would be nice. He's a switch hitter. What do you guys think of Dylan Cease? Because I mean,
why not? Yeah.
He's supposed to be traded.
So is Max Fried. I think Max Fried may be getting.
I heard the White Sox
traded.
were backing off of Cease. They wanted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're backing off Cease.
Okay.
I know that the Braves are talking about maybe getting rid of Max Fried because he's going to be a free agent next year.
Well, I would definitely be interested in Fried for sure. And Cease is really good too. So, I mean, it's just a matter of who you match up with. I mean, you look at the Giants between Bart and Tristan Beck and Keaton Wynn and some of the prospects they have behind Wisenhunt, Mason Black, Landon Roop, and some of these guys. They've got, a bevy of young arms throughout their system that they could probably cobble together one trade for, a ready to go starter right now. The guy from the Marlins to me makes a lot of sense because he's got because
Shane Bieber I think might be.
I want no part of Shane Bieber at all. His velocity is dipped every he's been in, and I think he's
Glasnow, but I think the Dodgers are in on him.
Would you want Cabrera over Luzardo from Miami? Larry?
To me, the guy I'd target is Corbin Burns, just because he's a St. Mary's kid. He probably would sign here, and he's durable, and he's got a, he really could front the rotation. I mean, if somehow, you could go into a series with, Burns and Webb, I mean, that's a great combo. I think that would be a popular signing. They've already talked about the whole local angle. I don't know if the Brewers still going to move Burns?
I heard the Brewers aren't. I heard they're going to keep Burns.
They're not going to move Burns. Yeah. Well, who knows? That we've already talked about a number of different options that could be, kind of, more projection options. I mean, you're talking about guys like Urias or Bauer. I mean, guys who are, it's like kind of like PR issues more than whether or not. I mean, do we know if it was just about who could pitch and how they could pitch, you would take on an Urias clearly, or you'd take on a Bauer. But then it's like, what kind of reaction will the community have here? And do people really want that? And there'll be this, seems like the wrong town for those guys. Somebody said Hader. Where'd Hader wind up?
Oh,
he hasn't signed yet. I want Hader. I like Hader.
Dan, you said projected to go to Texas, right? Hader.
I think that was what Bowden had him.
Here's an issue though. It just came out today. They just ranked all the farms. Giants are ranked 21st in all of Major League Baseball.
Oh, I saw that one. That was through
the
Bleacher Report.
Is that including Matos and Luciano though, or are they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And Harrison number 1. So there's other teams. Who was the number 1? I can't remember. I think it was Baltimore, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think Baltimore is number 1. I could see Baltimore using that trade capital to be able to pick somebody up. I could see that happening.
Hey, we've been on here a while, and I don't want to get off. We'll come right back to baseball, but just a 2-minute diversion. So don't leave chat. We're coming right back to baseball. But
Danny's mixing it up tonight.
Is it time for the Warriors to move on from Draymond Green?
Draymond, dude.
Tonight was bad.
Too late. They already re-signed him.
They got 4 more years of this. 4 more years. 4 more years.
Let's take a look at this. If you guys don't know what we're talking about,
it's unbelievable.
This is bad.
We're gonna keep the sound down, but we're just gonna show the video.
You probably get demonetized on this one.
Do we do that? If we show the video, we get demonetized?
Pretty much, or at least for a short amount of time. But go ahead.
Just don't have no sound.
All right.
Who is it through? I'm just dude.
Your money, not mine. You're rich already, Dan.
ESPN.
Okay, let me get that here.
I like how you kind of keep janking us back and forth like that. I like that production value.
High quality here, man.
Right. Here we go, guys.
You really have a good feel for this.
Yeah.
What was the previous suspension?
He might be concussed.
Yeah.
He might have been concussed.
4. The previous was 4.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of that slapping, thing that they do now where people slap each other in the side of the head. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, professional slapping. Yeah.
It reminded me of professional slapping. Yeah. I think Draymond's got a future in professional slapping. And I think that's where this is going. I think he
powder on the hands.
I think he can take a shot, but he can also deliver a blow.
What could they get for Draymond at this point with his values dropping? I mean, would anybody take him?
Oh God! I mean,
a contender would take him.
He is a absolute championship caliber player. Anybody who wouldn't take him would be crazy.
Because the Warriors, I mean, he's just derailed this season.
He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
How can you trust him though? He keeps doing it.
Steph Curry runs the franchise, and he's his best guy. You think they're going to get rid of? Think Steph's going to give the thumbs up to trading Draymond Green? No.
Did you see his?
How many games does the league give him though?
At least 10.
10, right?
It's got to be 10.
Mike Dunleavy thought he was the GM, but it's really Curry.
I think it's going to be. I think Dan's right. I think it's going to be like what the last one was. What 3 games or 5 games?
5. It doubles for sure. He could get the Ja Morant 20-gamer type.
He may get something big because that was a blow to the head. I mean, it was just like a no way around that. It was so obvious too. He didn't sell it well enough.
Yeah, that was straight. Exactly.
If you saw it well enough, but he he so obviously planned that and did that, and he's just guilty on that one. You know what I mean?
I know Curry runs the team. I know that's his boy, but Joe Lacob is not a guy to piss off over and over and over.
So what, you can have the Warriors can be the one team. Then you risk Steph going, you know what, guys, hey, it was fun. How about you send me to North Carolina? Or hey, how about I go finish somewhere else? I mean, unless or maybe Steph leverages it to, hey guys, I think I'd like a piece of the team. You know what I mean?
Probably.
I think I'd like ownership. If you really want to get rid of Draymond, I need ownership.
YouTube says third suspension in 15 games played. 20% chance getting suspended this whole year.
Yeah, you don't want to put Draymond.
I don't know if it's a whole year.
Sure. If you're doing a 5-player parlay and it's dependent on Draymond, getting 8 or 10 rebounds or 6 assists, you might not be around long enough to complete that.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing too. It's like, why does he keep taking himself off the floor? This is hurting the team. They would have won the game tonight, and then they wind up losing, and now they're going to lose a bunch of games waiting for him to get back, and the vibe's all weird. On one hand, it makes me think that like he, the schedule's just too long, and he's decided that his body won't make it till the end, so he's just gonna suspension himself into vacation. And
who benefit? Which player benefits from this? Kuminga?
Moody.
Yeah, anybody who plays the power forward spot that wants minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see Kerr forced to play Trace Jackson Davis anyway, to be completely honest. And that happened tonight. So as far as I'm concerned, mission accomplished.
Yeah, and by the way, we're going to be getting out of here. So I said we'd come back to the Giants. I mentioned them. Thanks for joining with the Giants fans. We're going to finish this up a little bit Warriors now. We're just going to go Warriors.
Enough. Yeah.
But we've been going 2.5 hours.
I
on
see
the
some
Giants.
heavy eyes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this Warrior team now, I'm telling you, this looks like a nightmare because you're losing all these games on the road by 1, 2, 3 points. Is this like the 4th or 5th loss under 4 points? 3 points in the on the road, 3 points or less. I mean,
there's a lot of teams out there with a lot of talent. There's a lot of big players who are very skilled. There's just a lot of really good teams. I mean, you look around, New Orleans is stacked, Minnesota's stacked, OKC's stacked, and suddenly there's all these teams with all this young talent, and the Warriors are 10-13.
I don't think – I know they're not – I don't see them at all being in the top 6. If they get in at all, it's going to be 9 or 10 spot.
The part that bugs me, Dan, is that they're rumored to be trading guys like Kuminga and Moody, and yet they should be playing guys like Kuminga and Moody. And it's like that's what drives me bonkers watching this Warrior team. They got 4 really good young players. Pajemski, Trace Jackson Davis – Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga.
Right.
And yet Kerr won't necessarily give these guys any consistent run, can't get them in any kind of a rhythm. And it's like those guys need to play. And the guy that needs to be traded is Andrew Wiggins. Because if you decided that you're going to the finish line with Klay Thompson, who, by the way, hit a ball that hit the bottom of the backboard tonight and went straight down. Did you see that?
No. I didn't.
He took a 3-point shot that hit the bottom of the backboard. It was like, what? He's so far off from 3 at times. It's like, what has happened to Klay Thompson? But there's been 4, 5, 6 reports. The Warriors will not be trading Klay Thompson. So clearly they're falling in love with their storyline, and they're, Joe's not going to be this like super cutthroat guy. He's going to be this, isn't it a great story? Let's, Steph and Klay and Draymond and the whole, these guys, he's keeping the whole band together.
Well, you're going to ride and die just like the Giants did in 2016.
Yeah, but they're going to move Wiggins because Wiggins is he's the one guy that makes a lot of money that they can get a good player back for. And it really looks to me like Wiggins will be on the move, but I'm hoping it's not with Kuminga. And, I think they might go after a Pascal Siakam. I read that, but I don't know.
When is the trade deadline? When do they have?
I think it's in February.
Okay. So they have a little time.
What is it about Bay Area teams outside the A's that are so hesitant to play their young players?
I think
Niners,
Moody,
Giants, Warriors all do not trust their young players.
They don't. I think Moody and Kuminga are going to get a lot of starting.
They've been saying that for a while.
No, especially with this Draymond thing today, and then Clay has just looked horrible. I think a realistic lineup that they should turn out is Curry, Podziemski, Moody, Kuminga, and Jackson Davis. I don't see why you wouldn't do that. The season's basically a wash at this point.
Yeah.
It's still early, but you're going nowhere.
They kind of reminded me a little bit of the Lakers last year. The Lakers were a 11-12 seed for a long time, and then Rob Pelinka. How do you say it?
Pelinka.
I've got Podziemski in my mind, and I've got Pelinka. That's right. Rob Pelinka made 6 different roster moves.
Oh, he was great.
He changed.
He was Dan Cochimilio in the fantasy league.
Oh, exactly, man.
He dealt his way to an incredible team by the end there.
Yeah, I gotta win this week, man. I got to win.
Clay was 2 of 10 today. Wiggins was 1 of 7.
Oh, the expression "you couldn't hit the side of a barn." That was Klay Thompson tonight.
Podziemski was 9 of 14, and Kuminga was 6 of 10. Just
and Clay shoots you right out of it too. 2 of 10.
There was this one possession where it was like 20 on the shot clock, and Clay just has the ball, and he's like 5 feet from the line, and he just chucks it, and he airballs it. It's the shot selection is horrible.
Seriously, and Kerr ought to react to this whole thing by doing exactly what you're saying, which is take the starters and put them on the bench, except for Curry, and take the bench and start them for 3-4 games and shake it up. Yep. That's what Don Nelson would have done. But Kerr's so deferential to Clay because he's got such a big ego and he can't handle it. But this would be the perfect time to do it because not only could you bench Clay, you could bench Wiggins, you could bench Looney, you don't have Draymond. So you could just say, hey, we're going in a different direction we're going to play it the opposite. We're going to play our starters, our bench minutes, our bench guys are going to play our starter minutes. Just try it for a few nights with Curry. And I think that alone will get their best athletes and their best players on the court. Podziemski's got to play. Moody's got to play. Trace Jackson Davis has to play. Kuminga has to play. And then you got to have guys like Paul and Saric, doing major things as well. And obviously Curry's got to do his thing. And if all of that happens, they can win games. But right now, their bench is outperforming their lineup. Their starting lineup tonight was putrid outside of Curry.
Horrible.
Curry's got to be getting frustrated.
There was a clip
all personal
of him
feelings
picking
aside,
the seat.
I saw Curry's body language when Draymond was going after.
That's what I saw that too.
Did you see that?
I meant
I'm like, you know what? Come on, man, stop. You could see him almost saying that. So I think he's got a big conflict within him.
This team now is teetering on just being blown apart. It really is. Curry ain't going anywhere, but there is a point where every person reaches a point where they just say, you know what, you're wasting some of my best years. Either get me new guys or
well, that's the thing. If you're Steph Curry, that's the problem, Danny. If you're Steph Curry, you go to him and you say, hey, Steph, do you got to have one more ring or do you got to go out with the guys you came in with?
Right.
Yeah.
Put him on the spot. Exactly.
Just say, what do you got to have? And then if he's got to have the ring, then you say, Steph, you got to trust in us that we're going to do the right thing, but we may move some guys. And if you say, you know what? No, I need to go out with my guys. Steph, that's fine. We'll go that route too, but there's a very good chance we may not be able to get this done. And are you fine just winning the rings you've won and not wanting out to go to a different situation? And at least let him decide about the twilight of one of the greatest careers of in basketball history.
Yeah.
I think they, in some ways, kind of owe it to him to have that conversation and just be like, and I say owe it to him. It's also kind of putting him on the spot. It's like, I hate to make you sell out your guys because I know that, you're not that kind of a person, but this team can't go forward if they don't move Klay Thompson's contract.
Well, let's talk about this. This is a little controversial, but that's what we do here. The 49ers traded Joe Montana. The Giants traded Willie Mays. Do the Warriors ever trade their all-time iconic figure of the franchise? And at this point, Montana was traded.
No.
They didn't get much.
You're saying Steph Curry. They're not trading Steph Curry.
No.
Montana, you didn't get much because he was at the twilight of his career. Mays, you got nothing. That was a promise to New York, bring him back to the, and they needed the money. The Giants needed the money. It's basically
right. Giants were poor.
You had Young.
They traded him for Charlie Williams because
$100,000, I think.
So because the lady who owned Joan Payson or whatever owned the Mets, had a ton of cash and let him write his own contract and
right
and Willie went to a World Series there.
I don't want to trade Curry. I hope he stays with the Warriors and finishes a Warrior, and I hope they build this thing around him. The best thing they can do is trade some of their great assets like Green and Wiggins and reload this thing for Curry. But if, Curry's still he's 35-ish. What is he? 35, 36? What is Curry?
35, I think.
Okay.
35.
But he plays like he's 31, 32.
He's got a lot left.
Yeah, he's a late bloomer. If you look at his college highlights when he was at Davidson, he looked like he was in 8th grade. I mean, it was incredible. I'm watching him going. I watched I don't know. Did you ever see the Apple special, Underrated, Larry, with Curry?
No.
Go watch it. You will love it. It's called Underrated. It's on Apple. Was it Apple? I said it was the other week or two. I watched it, guys.
I think that's what you said. I thought you said it was
Apple. Go watch it. It's unbelievable. It shows Curry growing up, when he was recruited. It was unbelievable. But this kid was, he's a late bloomer. He was not a great, he went to Davidson, and I'm like, guy wasn't even that great of a ball handler. His shot, he had to change his whole shot. Del Curry told him, you want to play college basketball? You can't shoot from your chest. He was like, so and when he first went to Davidson, it was a struggle. But that coach at Davidson was probably the key to Steph making it. He did not quit on Curry. It was pretty awesome to watch. So it's called Underrated.
Yeah,
it's only through Apple.
I love the chat. Like one person goes Eddie D would trade Clay, and another guy goes Bill Walsh would have traded Steph. That's why the Niners stayed relevant for as long as they did, because they did things like that.
The Warriors are going to live.
Here's the problem: the very expensive arena, and so I think the Warriors are very concerned that their arena is so opulent and so fancy and so expensive, so pricey that they got to have a hell of a show, and they have that even if the team doesn't win. But it's just, with Curry and Thompson, people love those guys and they'll come watch those guys. But
think of what you could get for Curry.
What happens if you sent him to North Carolina and you got LaMelo Ball and a couple of ones?
You would need more than that.
Yeah, you need a lot more than that.
Well, I don't know who else Charlotte's got that would be a player in return.
Curry wouldn't want to go to Carolina.
The Warriors are going to live and die with Curry. If Curry wants to trade away Clay and Dre,
I'll tell you, Steph Curry will be a Warrior as long as he wants to be a Warrior. The moment he says, I want out, they will have to trade him.
I agree.
It's funny. Where will he finish if he doesn't? Everybody expects him to be a lifelong Warrior. I would expect him to be a lifelong Warrior. If I was betting it, I would say he'd be a lifelong Warrior. But if by chance they decided they were going to move this is just the most ridiculous conversation, by the way. But if by chance they were going to move Steph Curry, which just seems like the most ridiculous conversation, the only two places I could really see Steph Curry playing would be Charlotte, where he's from, or the Knicks, Madison Square Garden. I could definitely see him. I could see the Knicks, making a big play for him, wanting him, dreaming of having him at Madison Square Garden. That would be, maybe they accumulate enough assets where they could actually make a ridiculous, attractive offer. But I think that's where I
got to build around him. He's probably, in my opinion, Steph Curry's right up there, real close to Mount Rushmore of all-time NBA players. I mean,
he's going to be the owner of the team, I think, before he'll be on a different team.
Yeah, I mean, if you did your Mount Rushmore basketball, to me, I would go with Jordan and LeBron. You got a total of 4. Gosh. Would you put?
I mean, what about Magic? What about Chamberlain? What about Bird?
I'd go Jabbar.
What about Olajuwon?
I'd go Jabbar over Chamberlain and Olajuwon. Jabbar was unstoppable.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go with the '80s basketball.
How do you not have Wilt Chamberlain? How do you not have Wilt Chamberlain on the Mount Rushmore?
I don't. You don't
have Wilt Chamberlain on there. This guy's every record that you look at, he's like, it's his.
What about Kobe?
Yeah, what about Kobe? Exactly. Kobe was spectacular.
I
sat baseline courtside the night he went for 51. The game where him and Jameson both went for 51. I sat courtside for that game. And
that was an awesome game.
And it was an amazing game. And Kobe made shot after shot after shot, just most highest degree of difficulty of all time, falling away in the corner, out of bounds, guys draped on him. It went. I mean, he was on one that night. It was unbelievable. And Jameson got every rebound and put it back in. It was two guys who had 51 in the different ways. It was like Jameson's was all like floaters and putbacks.
What'd you think of that, by the way? Do you think the Warriors would have been better off keeping Vince Carter or because they traded Carter?
I wish
they drafted Carter and they flipped him for Jameson.
Yeah, I mean, Vince Carter won the dunk contest at the Coliseum. Vince Carter was super exciting. I love Jameson, but and Jameson was very strong, but definitely Vince Carter.
Weren't they both out of North Carolina too?
Yeah,
that's right. They both came. That was unbelievable. I remember when they did that, and I go, "Oh, they got Carter, all right." And then all of a sudden, they like the Warriors have made a trade to. They flipped.
And he won the dunk contest and became this greatest show.
Oh man, yeah. They. Oh gosh, another exciting guy that was incredible.
Warriors could have drafted Kobe too.
Who else got 50? Was it in a playoff game? Was it Baron Davis? No, Sleepy Floyd.
Jamal Crawford, right? Didn't Jamal Crawford do it?
Yeah, but Sleepy Floyd did it. That was an unbelievable game against the Lakers.
Sleepy Floyd is Superman.
That was 25 and 4th, I think.
Was that Bill King that was?
That was Greg Papa.
It was Greg.
It was Greg Papa. Okay. We were doing this the other night. Who was the greatest? Who, in your opinion, Larry? Who was the greatest announcers in the Bay Area? Because Los and I went between Lon and Bill King. Bill King on the Warriors was.
I mean, it really depends how old you are and that kind of thing. I mean, old-time Giants fans going back to the beginning of the team would say, Russ Hodges and Lon Simmons for sure.
Yeah.
But
Lon was my guy.
Yeah, I would say Lon, and I would say Wayne Walker was just awesome on Niners for a long time.
Wayne Walker, the great mustache.
He was a color guy.
Yeah, former Lions linebacker. He was just great.
Yeah,
he was seriously a great announcer.
He was.
He was. I mean, think about it. He was a great linebacker, but then he also was a phenomenal, football color guy.
Lon Simmons, though, to me was the voice. I mean, no greater voice than Lon Simmons, and growing up with him was And when he passed away, it got to me. I got choked up when I heard Willie McCovey died and Lon Simmons died. It was like my childhood. Those guys practically raised me because, I didn't have a father for 5 years. My dad died at 6 months. So I grew up, the radio was my comfort growing up because I just listened to every game starting at about age 6 or 7. And so Lon Simmons, I listened to daily, for 6 months for 10, 15 years. And then Willie, I mean, the stretch was, he was just a classy guy. And I mean, the Bay Area has been so blessed and fortunate with unbelievable talent.
What about Bill King? I mean,
that's my number one.
Bill King. I mean, one of the great thrills I've had in my broadcasting career was to know and talk to Bill King and do an interview with Bill King, and him to tell me that he was a fan of my show when I was this is like, I'm in my 20s.
Wow.
And I'm just like, and I thought he was BSing me. And then he's like quoting last night, that caller. And it was just like, and I just couldn't believe it. And I'm like, this is Bill King. I know he's big on the A's and Raiders, but to me, Bill, I was not a Raider fan, but Bill King, as far as the Warriors, I thought was the best basketball announcer I'd ever heard.
Al Addles is on the floor. Richie Powers. Addles is being restrained. Remember that game?
I mean, he's so passionate, so good. And I can remember listening to the Warrior games on the radio. Yep. And because it was a lot on the radio, and it was really, I mean, Bill King was great. So I would say Bill King, Lon Simmons, Wayne Walker, Hank Greenwald was one for me. I think Hank Greenwald was fantastic.
Will Martinez says, can't forget the great Joe Angel.
Joe Angel. Put that in the win column. In the win column.
Hey, how about this?
Barry Bonds has done it. Put it in the win column.
The guy that drove me nuts because he wasn't a Giant, and they brought him in the 70s or early 80s. Hello, everybody. This is Lindsey Nelson along with Hank Greenwald.
Yeah, Lindsey Nelson was a superstar broadcaster. So I mean, he was like did all the national games and all the games on Thanksgiving, and he was just one of the great announcers in the history of the country. But he was not San Francisco. He did not fit in. I thought you were going to say Ron Fairley, because Ron Fairley was a Dodger, and it was really hard to listen to his stories because they were always about the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I mean, we would have these. You'd be listening to the Giants game, and all summer this guy's telling you stories about, Sutton used to say, it's like, what? Get out of here.
Have you heard
Johnny Padres? Let me tell you about Johnny Padres. It's like, no, we don't want to hear about Johnny Padres.
Have you heard Hank Greenwald's son? Sounds just like him.
He does, Doug. Yeah, he's good guy.
Where is he right now, Doug Greenwald?
He does minor league ball. I think it's the Astros system.
Fresno. Yeah, he does the AAA.
So he's got to pay his dues in the minor.
It's spring training games too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, he's good. He's talented. He sounds just like Hank Greenwald.
I know.
Hank was great. Really, really good. Very dry sense of humor, and just he was great. He was fantastic. He had a lot of fun doing it. Yeah, and I think Greenwald and Bill King and Greg, obviously, I thought Greg was best on the Warriors.
Yeah, Greg's great with the Warriors and Niners. Joe Starkey was a legend with Cal for I don't know how many years, 40 plus years. And,
Bob Murphy down at Stanford.
Yeah. And then
Dan, if you were both announcers, which sport would you want to do?
Me?
Both of you.
I've done play-by-play basketball when I was in college. It was hard. I did at Clayton Valley. We had a radio station, and I couldn't do it in high school because I was on the team. But when I went to junior college my first year, the teacher let me do the games, come back. He was gracious enough to let me, even though I wasn't a student, to come back, and it was fun. But it's like, man, it's fast moving, and
it's very fast.
And you got to. The hard part is you got to, I knew all the players because they were juniors when I was there. So when I came back, I knew all the guys on Clayton Valley, but it was the other team, Northgate. They were playing Northgate, and I was doing a playoff game, and I'm like, crap, I don't know these kids from Northgate, and so I got to really study their numbers, and kept studying it because it's like, you can't go, he throws it over number 22 dribbles, he goes down to the key, drops it off over to 44. It's like,
how about this? I was talking to Fitz when he was doing the Olympics, and you're doing the Olympics, so you mean it's like you got to get all the names right, and you're talking about all these teams from different countries with tough pronunciations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's very, very difficult, and it's the Olympic Games. So I mean, that's when you're like, you think about the best announcers, man, and they get those right. I mean, Ted Robinson used to be so good at like these really obscure names. And it's like, you know what, when you're a pro, you work at it. These guys work at it. They say it a bunch of times, they say it fast, they try to say it again and again and again, and they get it down. So then the moment, it's Michael Yamamoto and Lee. It's like, what are you going to say? It's like, it's like 9 syllables or something like that, and Ted would nail it.
I used to sit in the upper reserve at Candlestick for a Giants game. Nobody was out there because there was like 11,000 for a game. I'd sit with my video or tape recorder, and I'd do play-by-play. And then you remember those days when you listen to your own voice, and you're like, oh, forget that. It doesn't even sound like me. That was it. Short career. It was fun, though.
Supposedly John Miller used to do that as a kid.
Yeah.
So, I would say baseball would be the one I would want to do for sure.
I love baseball because you could talk between pitches, although now you got to do your stories quicker with the pitch clock.
Storytelling.
I think one of the best shows that you can do, like, I know there are people that do watch parties. I mean, not watch party. Yeah, like kind of, or do like live streams during Niner games. Like Chase Senior is on there on Chat Sports, and they sit there while the game's going on, and they talk about it, and they take shots, and they're drinking, and they're having a good time. It's like, just basically sitting back and watching the game and whatever. I always felt like baseball would be the best sport to do that. Like, if you're ever going to come on in the game with somebody while they're watching it and you're watching it, we got to try that this summer, Danny, and do a couple of those shows.
Yeah, that'd be
like
fun.
In game where we're sitting there watching the game, because that can be really good stuff.
Yeah, that was fun when Ryan and I were doing that in-game show.
Wait, these guys are in the Mavericks. Do you even have that? I have
it.
I don't have it. Right you have it?
Well, not that one.
Which one are you talking about?
But I got this one.
Get fired up. This guy cracks me up, man.
There it is, Jung Hoo Lee. It's Jung Hoo Lee.
All right, let's go Giants. All right, we're out here in the bleachers with the Larry Krueger show. Larry Krueger. Yeah, we're gonna be on YouTube right now tonight. All right, okay. When I say Larry, you say Krueger. Larry Krueger. Larry Krueger. Larry Krueger. All right, let's hear it one more time. Come on, all right, Larry! Krueger! Larry! Krueger! All right, hey, Larry! Let's go Giants! Larry! Let's go Giants!
Unbelievable.
I think our military needs more guys like that.
How did you do that? Did you just plan that? Did you talk to those guys ahead of time or something?
No, I just went out there. I was just so having fun. Just
my God.
I don't even drink, so I wasn't drinking or nothing. I was just like,
I like how that video starts with it's sideways. You're gonna
I know I had it wrong and something, but yeah, that was.
I thought you were gonna show the one of you and Ryan in the stands when the home run the home run?
We don't have that. Rise got that one. That was crazy.
Oh, that
we were actually we were like,
who hit the home run?
Jock. We just bet just right before that. We bet that the Giants would lose by 1, or it was 1.5. We took the live bet and we go, we just need Jock to hit a 2-run homer here. And he does. And we're like going nuts. And we didn't care if they won or lost as long as we won the bet. And it was just like but that was fun. So,
well, if the Giants are exciting this year, I'll talk Giants on the Krug show. But if they're not exciting, I won't do it. So
yeah.
Farhan, it's your move. He's probably thinking, look, if we can just be not exciting enough to not have that one, because then with that guy, we'll talk Niners and we won't talk Giants.
I spoke with Marty today, and Marty was going to maybe join us this week, but he's got a little bit of a cold. So the cold was going around. Eric just got over it. But Marty will join us probably next week sometime. Cool. And we do have Kerry Crowley on Thursday night. And I think that show will come on a little earlier, 8:00. But yeah, so keep hitting us up. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Hit the notifications bell so every time we go live, you'll get notified. And but I think that much wraps it up for us tonight, guys. It's 1:45 here in Arizona.
Yeah,
Los and I are like you guys are still 11:45, still early, but
hey, I want you guys to take a good look at the studio. We're changing it up now.
Oh,
changing up the studio.
Nice.
Change it. You're gonna get some air conditioning and heat in there.
Take a good look. All those Niner flags are coming down. We're taking down the carpet. We're gonna be putting up some. It's gonna be a whole new set here at the Krug show.
Nice.
Is this gonna be like a overnight changeover, or is this?
No, it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be today. But we got a guy coming tomorrow. We're working on some plans.
Ooh,
it's gonna be a totally different look to the studio.
Let me guess. Kev said, "Dad, got to change it up a little bit. You're getting big time."
Exactly. Totally different look. Totally different backdrop. I mean, it's just going to be dramatically different. It's going to change the Bay Area.
That's awesome.
It's going to
change the Bay Area. I love it. Hey, you're having a get together this Sunday, right, Larry? Over in Corte Madera?
That's right. Sunday for Niners Cardinals. If you're down at Corte Madera, Pig and a Pickle, stop by. We'll be there from noon to 8. Just watching the game, having some barbecue.
Nice. When do you get home, Bora? When do you get back to San Francisco?
Saturday night.
Ooh, join Sunday at Pig and a Pickle.
I have to. Pig and a Pickle is really good, by the way. I love it.
It's really good.
It's driving out there. Yeah. It's like an almost 2-hour drive, but I was thinking about.
Where are you coming from?
Galt.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did you say
99? I've been on 99.
Yep.
You have gout. You have gout? That's really painful.
That's funny. Some people, they misspell it. Are you living Galt? No, it's not Galt. Galt.
A girl that I dated at Sac State lived in Galt. I remember dropping her off in Galt.
Yeah, that's only like 30 minutes away, if that. Yeah,
you can get to Galt pretty quickly.
Yep.
Wow. So Pig and a Pickle Sunday.
Pig and a Pickle. Niners Cardinals watch party, and I'm gonna be there. Kev will be there. My entire family, and some of our friends, and everybody's invited, and have some barbecue. Stop by. I know it's the 17th of December, but you know what? We thought this would be a perfect time because you can stop by, have a little barbecue, go Christmas shopping. It's a huge killer mall there at Corte Madera. Pick up a couple things, come back, and maybe watch the post-game show. Or we'll watch the Niner game from 1 to 4. We'll do the post-game show. Danny, we're, of course, hoping you're going to join us.
Yep.
On that post-game.
Yeah.
And we'll do the post-game show right from the restaurant.
Awesome. Well, let me ask you something, Larry. Hey, Larry.
Larry.
I want to know.
You want me to do my Trent Baalke? Dan, you talk to Lowry all the time, and he's got your ACL's fine and his ACL's fine. Together,
well, I want to know, Larry. I want to know about Kyler Murray. Got him in fantasy, and he tore his ACL last year. But how's he done in the past against the Niners? How's he done?
Yeah, exactly.
I need to know. Does Murray does he do well against the Niners, or do they shut him down?
They shut him down.
That's what I thought.
He hasn't played well
against the Niners defense, but I mean, he runs around and makes some plays.
But now they got that new D that they did on Hurts, where they kind of contain the.
One thing about Murray is Murray's so different in that he's so fast. You could have him contained and he can still run around.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like I think that could be a very tough game because just from the standpoint, he's tough to corral and he'll make some plays. They're just going to have to play cleaner football than the Cardinals, which they probably will. When I say cleaner, I just mean fewer penalties, fewer mistakes, and they'll win it. But I definitely don't like giving all those points this week at all.
Armstead and Hargrave both out, right?
Armstead's out. Hargrave, I don't know. Hargrave, Shanahan said he may go. If not, it's Kalia Davis, Javon Kinlaw, Kevin Givens. It's going to be those guys. You know what they went to this last game? I don't know if you guys noticed, but they went to kind of their all pass rush deal with Randy Gregory and Bosa outside and Chase Young and Hargrave inside. So they'll probably do a little bit more of that 3 defensive end look.
Mm-hmm.
Gregory looked good the other day.
He did.
Man,
he's a good dude too. I talked to him a couple times.
I mean, he looks like he's having fun. Did you see the video on the tribute to Armstead with the NFL Man of the Year or whatever he was nominated?
I did. I saw that.
Those guys. I mean, you look at that video, man. Kinlaw, he's like he really does love. You can see.
Armstead is not a teammate to Kinlaw. He's like, second father, big brother, whatever. He's a very definitely. You can tell. I mean, Javon has great respect and admiration for Kinlaw for Armstead. But when I talked to Armstead about Kinlaw, he said, "Hey, man, Kinlaw, gets me fired up on game day. He'll get in my face and be like, nobody can block you, that kind of stuff." And
Kinlaw's having a quiet, good year.
Who is Kinlaw? Yeah, he is. He's playing. No, he's playing. You think about it. For him, his whole thing has just been. He kind of is. He reminds me of a little, in a way, for older Niner fans, Ted Washington, who when the Niners who was just enormously strong, if he could just stay healthy, he was just a force against inside, right? Well, Kinlaw, if he can just stay healthy and play with leverage, play with a bended knee, get down and be able to, come off of blocks. As long as he's active and can move with that knee, he's so strong that he can bull rush the center back into the quarterback, back at basically in any play he wants. So it's going to be a big game for him because he's a free agent at the end of the year. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option. And if he has a couple of big games in these high-profile games, the Ravens on Christmas, and of course the playoffs, he's going to make himself a ton of money.
You know who I'm excited to watch is Jair Brown.
Yeah, he's a great young player. I kind of think he might even be better than Hufanga, to be honest. I like Hufanga. He's faster. He's more forceful of a hitter. He's got great instincts for the interception. And I mentioned to Shanahan after the game, I said, this guy does it against the run. He does it against the pass. Does it up on the line of scrimmage. He does it down the field. He looks good in every phase. I'm like, what do you see, Kyle? He's like, I see the same thing. It's like, I see the exact same thing. The guy's basically, making plays against the run. He makes plays against the pass. So he's a young player.
Who's going to play for Burks, Winters or Graham?
It's another great debate question because it's probably going to be Winters or Demetrius Flanagan Fowles. Could be Demetrius Flanagan Fowles. They like to go the veteran route. But I'll tell you, the guy that I think's got to get on the field is Graham.
Yeah.
Because I think if Graham got on the field and played, people would see that the 49ers, he could vault them to the Super Bowl because he's that good of a linebacker. He's fast. He's instinctive. He knows how to play. I would get him on the field and let him make a bunch of tackles because he can. I mean, he's going to miss a run fit. And somebody's going to go for 50 yards. It's going to happen at least once. But he's also going to make 12 tackles and 4 solo. And you know what I mean? He flies all over the place. That's the one guy, Jalen Graham. They got to find a way to get him out there. If they can get him out there, I don't think when Oren Burks comes back, he'll be back as a special teamer.
Right.
All right, everybody.
Trust them young guys. They're talented.
Yep.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Larry. Appreciate you coming on.
Hey, awesome. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, Los and Bora and Eric, as always. We'll be back tomorrow night. Is it 8:30, Eric?
8:30.
8:30? Yep. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for joining the chat. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Tell your friends about us. We're here Monday through Friday talking a lot of Giants baseball right now because it's winter meetings and, we're here to
moves.
See what happens, see what they do. And as you heard the last half hour or so, we cover the Niners and the Warriors too. So, but check out Larry's show every day. He's on the Krueger show, hit 30,000 subscribers here last week. Incredible. On his way to 50,000.
2 million views. I saw that. 2 million views.
2 million views this month.
2 million views
as of today.
On his way to 50,000 to become the sports leader in the Bay Area. So check that channel out, the Krueger Show. Great guest, great content, a lot of stuff. If you want 49er content, that's the place to go. And Larry comes on here now and then, and I'm over there on post game after the Niners games. And the rest, we'll let you go here. And my dog, Faith, thank you, Faith, for just leaving me a gift.
Staying there in the tough times.
Oh, man. Whew.
What happened to Charlie?
Or Buster?
Or Buster, I mean.
Buster. Hey, Buster, where are you, Buster? Oh, Buster's over there. Buster's right there.
It is late, man. We're calling dogs Charlie.
There's Buster. There's Faith.
High energy group, I see.
Yeah, it's like it's 1 o'clock. They're like, "Hey, come on, man, Dad, we're supposed to be in bed a long time ago, man." So
it's kind of a microcosm of the audience right there.
Yeah. There's the Niner room over there. All right, we moved the table around on Sunday afternoons. We just shift it back over here. We got the Giants, little Warriors. Little Golden Gate Bridge there. Yeah. Guitars, not mine. I do not play the guitar.
Dan, play us a little ditty.
You want a little ditty on the way out?
Oh, man.
Play us a little ditty, would you? Play us out. Danny, play us out.
I got 4 minutes to put in a waiver claim. Hold on.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Oh man. We're going to be here another 30 minutes.
Hold on 1 sec. I'll give you a little close out here. Let me.
You knew that was coming. Waiver claim.
I gotta get a waiver claim in here. Do we want to do that? Do we want to drop that guy?
I tell you what, you always know what defense Dan gets because he'll be tweeting the crap out of it during Sunday when they're screwing up.
Thanks, Larry, for telling me to pick the Giants instead of the Dolphins the other night. I lost by 4, and the Dolphins had 6 more points than the Giants. But thanks.
How tired are you guys of seeing DeVito's agent kiss his father?
Oh man.
It's like, come on.
Who is that guy, man?
This guy DeVito better be good. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of smooching.
Here we go. Let's get this claim in.
Danny, we're having a hard time building to a crescendo here.
Yeah, I had to get my claim in. Here we go. Let me grab the guitar.
The ultimate run-on sentence.
Dan, do you have problems with closure?
Yeah.
I was distracted. I had to get my claim in.
I have a couple friends who do have problems with closure. They're just like, "All right, man, take it easy. Yeah, good to see you." And then they just keep going. Hey, all right, man. Hey, yeah, it was great talking to you. All right. Hey, hey, buddy. It was, we'll see each other soon. Go already.
Yeah, the kind of guy that's drawn with and you
Just freaking show.
20 hints, like you're trying to get rid of them on the phone. They keep going.
Here we go, Farhan. We got a song for Farhan or what? What do we got?
Go for it.
I need some background, Eric. This is for Farhan.
You need. You want some background?
It's 1 a.m. I think we can get away with it.
I know exactly where he's going.
I'm retired.
All right.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right, Farhan. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Farhan.
Larry's never coming back on the show.
There we go.
What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, we just turned network experience.
We just turned a great 3.5 hour professional show, and we just ended it on a real low note there.
Danny hasn't learned anything. You just play the music, keep showing the dogs.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah,
there we go. We're out of here, everybody. Play
Thanking
the music.
everybody.
We'll show the dogs.
All right.
One more time. Oh, hey, I think that Buster left when I played.
Yeah.
He's gone.
He
was over there by the guitar. He's gone.
I'm going to go find Buster, everybody. I'll see you guys later.
Hey, have a good night, everybody.
All right,
we'll be back tomorrow night. Thank you, everybody.
Woo!